46, and I lost my dad to cancer. It was the worst pain I ever felt. It made me think, what will happen with the people I love when my time is up? That's why I have life insurance. Ethos makes it easy. It's all online, take about 10 minutes, and you can get up to $3 million in coverage.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/game. That's ethos.com/game. Paid testimonial. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
Congratulations to the New York Knicks. They are the 2026 NBA champions. WHSQ and WCBS-FM HD2, New York. Don.
You're a filth bag. You're a sex-star filth bag.
Hahn.
The guy's going to be 41.
Flicking it.
And Rosenberg.
Go look at Redford in that movie right now. You'll want to hook up with him. This isn't North Dakota. This is New York.
This is Don, Hahn, and Rosenberg.
The best threesome I've ever heard.
On ESPN New York and streaming live on YouTube.
Straight up 3 o'clock in the greatest city in the world. Okay, little Han Solo with you today for 4 hours, just you and me. Don is on vacation this week. Peter, he'll be on his way back to New York, and he'll be with us tomorrow and the rest of the week, so don't you worry, everybody out there. So it's just us together. And isn't that the way we like it? Because we used to do it this way, right, Pusick? You, me, and everybody else. Ty Butler used to be part of that party at night, and we always had fun. And this was always the time of year where we'd play a little Ask Alan, and that's always part of it. So 1-800-919-3776 if you want to get yourself right in line and get ready to go today. Well, some fun guests today. You never know who's going to pop in, so you want to stay tuned for that. But I want to begin first, just tell you a quick story. So last week, Bruce Beck, of course, from NBC New York, he does a sports broadcasting camp. He's actually been doing it for like 2 decades. He's one of the best people to know in New York sports. For 30 years, he's been the standard for sports anchors, Super Bowls, World Series, Stanley Cup Finals, NBA Finals, the Marathon, the U.S. Open in tennis, the U.S. Open in golf, of course, the Olympics all the time. And since 2002, he's been running this sports broadcasting camp for kids, and since 2017, it's been Iona College. So he asked me to be part of it this year, and I was glad to be able to do it. And the deal for me was just to show up and be interviewed by some of the kids in the camp who are learning how to do on-camera interviews, which, by the way, everybody, is not as easy as it looks. And so the kids had to do research on me as if I was the subject. Normally, I'm the one asking the questions. And, of course, you would expect most of the questions were Knicks related. But some dove into my college career, such as one that asked me if I was devastated by my career-ending injury that I suffered back then. Devastated. You think? Of course I was. But afterward, it was great, and it was a lot of fun. And, again, I love Bruce. But afterwards, I got in the car heading to the show last week. And so I'm in the car and, of course, reflecting on everything. And it made me think about college, and a funny story came to mind that I thought you'd enjoy. I was like, college went by so fast. It was so quick. And I was like a late addition at LIU Post. I became a starter early on, which kind of surprised everybody, including myself. And I became like a key piece in the rotation of what was a really good team. Then pop, knee blew up, and that was it. I tried to come back, but there was no coming back. And back then, when you had an ACL like I did, where the whole thing just blew up and everything else got messed up, they took you out back and shot you. I mean, Bernard King got to the All-Star game after making his comeback, but he was an NBA player with the best doctors in the world. I didn't quite have that at the Division II basketball level. But anyway, it made me think of like a funny story from that season when I had a chance to watch game film one time. And yeah, when I say game film, I mean, on the VCR, you get the cassette, you pop it in, and you watch it. And I had a chance to watch myself in a game because my coach was like, just watch yourself and tell me what you think. And I was all right. And what I saw was too slow, too skinny, a little lost sometimes, a little erratic. And after watching the game, when you watch yourself, it's amazing. Even when you do TV, it's amazing that you see all the flaws. So I finished watching that game. I was like, damn, all-time low confidence in myself. And when I was at that age, in my 19, 20 years old, I had irrational confidence in myself. Like I thought I was the ish, man. Like I'd never thought negative about the way I played until I watched that game film. So the next day I went to practice and I saw Coach. He's like, "Did you watch the film?" I go, "Yeah." And he said, "What'd you see?" I said, "Well, I saw I saw I got boxed out easy. I got to get in the gym. I look like I really didn't belong out there. And I said, look, my ego after watching that is shot. So I need you to pump my tires, Coach. Like, give me something positive. And God bless him, Coach Tom Galizzi, rest his soul. He said to me, well, you got a good eye for talent evaluation. I was like, damn, that's the best you can do? So that and the referee story, which I think I've told a million times, is kind of what led me here. But it's just funny how the broken road takes you along the way in your life, and that's sort of where it led me. So somehow, some way, I still ended up in basketball. The game loved me back, and this past year for me was definitely a year, the greatest of my professional career. There's no question about that. And you know what today is, everybody? 1 month ago today, where were you? Where were you when Tyler Murray said those words, right? When Mike Breen said those words, the Knicks are NBA champions, a month ago. Can you believe it's been a month since Game 5? It has been a month. Brunson went for 45, if you don't recall. That's an NBA Finals record for the Knicks, by the way. Will this read? Because I know there's, the Richard and Manhattans out there that are going to ask me. 38 he had against the Lakers in 1970, Game 3. Look it up. But 45 by Brunson, 15 in the fourth quarter, 15 and 8 minutes in the fourth quarter of the NBA Finals. And then he had to get a procedure on his wrist, the shooting hand, despite doing all that. You remember the Knicks were down 7 going into that fourth quarter? Remember they were down 15 in that third quarter? That's what this team's all about. That's what you love about this team. So as we celebrate this and we look at a team that, has kind of run it back other than Mitchell Robinson, which is a huge piece, but still 90% of the roster is intact. The Knicks ended a 53-year championship drought for the franchise. But the more I think about, like, a month ago, we were celebrating a championship in New York. It wasn't just a Knicks championship. It was of the 4 major sports. I know we've had the Liberty, we've had NYCFC, but I'm talking about the 4 major sports, the traditional major sport. You haven't seen a title in 15 years. That's, for New York, guys, that's a long time to go without a title when you have 2 of everything. 3 hockey teams, really. And it's, of course, the conversations we've had over the years, those of us who had followed me through all the different shows I've done, when I've been on at night, and I loved having this conversation because at the time the Knicks were in that, of the droughts and who's going to finally break it and who's going to put an end to this 15-year drought. The Yankees were always the team that took the lead, didn't they? The Yankees were the team that we'd always say, always put the Yankees 1 or 2 because every year they're playing for a title because they have that standard. So the answer should be the Yankees, shouldn't it? But are they as close as we think? I mean, honestly, if the Knicks, either next year or the year after, which I think this window still has about 2 years, maybe 3 left in it, if they don't get another one, who else do you think is close? Because are the Yankees as close as you think they are now that we're at the All-Star break in Major League Baseball? Yeah, they had a good finish, a very strong finish against the Nationals this weekend. Some come-from-behind wins, Jazz Chisholm rallying the troops the way he did with his speech to everyone. But again, the American League is laid out for this team. The road is paved in gold if they want it, I think. They got to get healthy, of course, most obvious thing to say. But they also have some holes to fill, which is up to Brian Cashman to do at the trade deadline, which is coming up at the beginning of August. But does that always work? And do we trust the Yankees and who they are and how they're built and their style of play? That they're a team that can be the one that gets that next title, that can turn New York back into a title town, which we have not been able to say in a long time. In 15 years, guys. Long time. Before Giants, Super Bowl 2011, that was the last one. And then Giants, Super Bowl 2007, Yankees World Series 2009. There was your pocket where at least you had a couple of titles. But then before that, what are we talking about? You got to go back to the 90s. Giants Super Bowl, Rangers Stanley Cup, Yankees World Series. Then you had a little bit of a run. From 86 to 96, at least you had some titles in there. But for this right now, who would you put next up? And why? And do you really trust the Yankees? Because I'm not sure that I do. I'm also wondering if it isn't the Yankees. Do you trust who? The Giants? I mean, I know Dave Rothenberg's got them, right? 65 or sooner. I don't know if I'm seeing that yet. Harbaugh gives you reason to believe, but the roster's still the roster, right? Coaching only takes so far. You still have to have talent. Do they have enough? Do they have the quarterback? Dan Graziano is going to join us later in the show. We're going to get into some Giants with him because I got a lot of questions about them. But that's the part that gets me all the time is you look at franchises, and anytime you bring them up, you always say, I trust them because they have a championship background. They've done it before. But when it's been 15 years, how can you trust anybody? Because 15 years means that no one has shown you the ability to play at a championship level. And the Yankees at least are that one team that has done that. They got to the World Series a couple of years ago. They're always in the playoffs, perennial winning record. That's why you can trust them when it comes to having a chance. But that doesn't mean they can do it because they haven't won since 2009. And when they got to the World Series finally 2 years ago, what did it look like? Were they in the same class as the Dodgers? Were they in the same class as the Blue Jays last year? Every year, it always seems like somebody else can outclass them. And oh, by the way, Boston Red Sox won 9 in a row, feeling good about themselves. Why do I feel like they're going to be a pain in the ass before all else is said and done? They always seem to be. So we shall see. 800-919-3776. I got a lot of calls to get to here because, I want to talk with you about this. We'll get into Home Run Derby tonight. We'll get into All-Star for Major League Baseball. And Home Run Derby should be fun tonight, but there are some changes, so we certainly will talk about that. But right now, I'm just curious, and I'll go around the room. Anthony, Jacob, you guys sports fans, if I was going to put you on the spot right now, Knicks just ended the drought. 15 years is up. We finally have a Big Four championship team here in New York. If I was going to tell you who's going to win the next one, now, it can't be the Knicks because they've already won, so even if they repeated, it doesn't really count. You need another franchise now to kind of raise their level and join that. Who would that team be in your mind? Anthony.
I would still say, like you said, Alan, it's probably the Yankees, but I don't know.
Are you saying that with confidence?
I'm saying it with confidence because I don't have much confidence in the rest of the group in New York.
Exactly.
I would say one of the hockey teams is more likely after that than maybe the football teams, which is
says a lot.
pretty crazy to think about. And the Rangers might be the third most likely of those three.
And again, none of them made the playoffs last year.
Exactly. So it's by default the Yankees, but as you say, we could say that, but just because you're in second doesn't mean you're close.
No.
And we have to wonder, based on the way this team is played and how good the National League is, how close this team is. I would still say Yankees, but I don't know how confident I would be in that.
I worry that we might be waiting longer than anyone wants to believe. Jake?
I think it's the Yankees, but like second is not that far behind in terms of like who I choose because I don't feel confident in the Yankees enough to say, definitively they're going to go out there and win a championship. Like the other team I probably had in mind was the Giants, but do I believe in like the quarterback situation with the Giants and like and what's going on there? Like I do believe in John Harbaugh and probably the culture he'll bring in, but it's the surrounding factors for that team.
That's exactly it. At least you could say you have a championship level coach with the Giants because he has won it before, right? But he hasn't won in a while. So, there's still some proving for him to do. But he does come in at least with the pedigree, and you want to believe it. See, again, it has to always be a trust thing. So you look at the Yankees and you say, well, I trust that they'll have an opportunity. But what are they going to do? See, my biggest concern with the Yankees is simply, are you willing to make moves at this deadline with the idea that this might be the last full season we have for a couple of years? When we know that on the horizon, after the World Series, we might have a work stoppage next year because they're going to dive into the CBA. They're going to try to change the system. Players aren't going to want it. And you're probably going to lose some games next year. How much? I don't know. But whatever comes of it, we do know majority of the time, owners always win. And if the owners want to have a cap system, somehow, some way that's going to happen. And if it does, doesn't that change the way the Yankees have to do business? Because what we've seen, the numbers we've seen are not $300 million or even $290 million or $275 million. We're talking about $255 million, which means you got to now start cutting back. And has Brian Cashman showed you that he has an ability to make really smart economic moves to fill out his roster? Look at the bottom of the order. Tell yourself, right? Like when you have to overspend to build a good team like the Dodgers do, it doesn't suggest that you're a really good front office. And part of the reason I think why Cashman tries to find diamonds in the rough is he wants to prove that he can build a roster without buying a World Series, which is what they were accused of doing in the late 90s. He wants to prove that he's got a good eye for it. But I don't know if he does. Because if he did, I think they might have had a championship by now. But they haven't really done that. Now, we know the Mets, forget that. That whole situation is a disaster. But here, on the Yankee side of things, if they are put into a cap system and they have now a true budget, do they have the ability to still build a championship caliber team in that cap system with the controlled spending? And are you ready for a Major League Baseball that doesn't have any super teams anymore? Because the Dodgers can't operate that way. They won't be able to operate spending what they spend. So they're going to have to figure that out too and move some of those players to make it all work. So that's why you can say, I think it's going to be the Yankees, but you don't know for sure because you don't know what system's coming up. So it's all things to consider when right now at this trade deadline, if you've got an opportunity to get a player or two that you know suddenly fills two massive holes you have on this team, especially the one at righty catcher, which we all know is going to be a target. They're going to get somebody. And if they can do that, maybe they have a chance to win now, and they should go for it versus being, careful, worrying about, the assets you have to give up. When on the other side of things, that might be your best chance to end your drought of a championship. This year might be it. Because when are you going to see the American League like this? When are you going to see opportunity like this? Who's the American League team that really does scare you? Yeah, the Rays give you trouble, but they always do. But are they really that much better than you? Are they really a team you have to worry about? Or can you build yourself a team that doesn't have a weakness, that is a little bit stronger at the bottom of the order? You know when you get healthy, you can have starting pitching. Is this the year you got to go for it? And worry about it later, especially if you don't play again for another year because of a potential work stoppage. So the Yankees need to be aggressive. 800-919-3776. We'll get some calls here momentarily, but Anthony Pusick, if I wanted to still celebrate the Knicks championship 1 month later, where would be a great place for me to go to do that?
Well, there's really only one place, Alan, in this area, and it's Champs Sports Fan Central Station. New York, you're going to want to hear this one. This summer, all lines lead to Champs Sports Fan Central Station, a soccer pop-up shop open right in the heart of the city at 125 West 33rd Street. This is the soccer destination in New York. Jerseys for every national team you ride with, USA, Mexico, Argentina, Brazil, and way more, all under one roof. If you want to gear up, rep your country, and feel the energy of the city, Champs Sports Fan Central Station, 125 West 33rd Street. That's where you need to be. And Alan, this is what you were bringing up. Knicks fans, this one is for you. They have championship gear to celebrate your team's first title in 53 years.
I love that. You see it everywhere still. There's nothing better than that. Just being out at the store, just being out and about, and just people still having the Knicks gear on. And I'm telling you, I don't know if you guys do this, but when you see somebody and all you have to do is say Knicks in 5, it's like they'll say it back to you. It's just, it's the greeting now.
Have you taken the walk down 6th Avenue, Alan? Me and Jacob take that walk to West 4th. We see, what do we see? Dylan Jones Way, Josh Hart Drive.
Oh, yeah.
All the different roads, yes.
Yeah.
32nd and 7th is what, Karl-Anthony Towns Street, right?
Yeah, there's a couple over by us, which is pretty cool. So we get to Miles McBride's over here, too, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, the Big Deuce Way. I love it.
I don't
That's all right.
know. I don't know what happened to my street.
Hahn Street, you're saying?
Yeah.
I don't know.
No. I mean, shouldn't we all get one? Shouldn't there be one for Monica?
I want one for Pito.
Yeah.
Oh,
We
yeah,
definitely have
Pito.
the Bill Pito way.
I think, but Pito has to get it before you, Breen, and Tyler, honestly.
Why?
Listen, I got to stand up. I got to stand up for the short kings.
They couldn't fit Wally's last name on one of the street signs, so
he'd have Wally Way. That's easy to do. or maybe they just take like Wally Wall, just Wally Wall Street. Makes sense. Yeah, I don't think I'm getting a street. I'm just happy I was on the floor for 5 minutes. 800-919-3776. Let's grab a couple of calls as we got them coming in, and this is the fun part. Let's go to Phil in Queens to start us off. Go ahead, Phil.
Hey, what's going on, Alan? What's going on, guys?
What's happening?
It's been happy 1 month anniversary, man.
Yep.
Let's go. Like,
I was told by a Nets fan that it's time to get over it and move on. And I was like, oh, no.
He's a Nets fan. That's why he's saying that. No way. We're not getting over this until we lose in the playoffs next year. We're going to be bragging about it up until then.
And even still, you know what? Even still, the banner's not coming down, even if you lose in the playoffs next year.
Yeah. Oh, no. 1,000%. All right. We were talking about, the Yankees. You were talking about the Yankees before.
Yeah.
But I do think the Yankees are probably the closest to winning it. Obviously, it's not saying much because – we're not doing well either. We're not like, we're top of the AL, but what does that really mean right now?
Right.
But I think, the Yankees are probably closest to winning the chip. And just quickly, if I could say something about the World Cup. If I'm a betting man, I'm putting my money on Spain. Spain is the only team that could possibly beat France, and then after that, it's easy go. So that's all I want to say. Thank you, guys. Let's go Knicks. Knicks in 5.
All right, Phil. Knicks in 5. Yeah. That's going to be interesting. Now that we've gotten to this level where it's like the 4 best teams in the world, that's what's going to make it now. I think we'll see not only high level. I'm waiting for – I know the ball hitting the wire thing against Norway was a real controversial moment, but there's still one more coming. There has to be. Referee call, a handball that wasn't – there may be something or something that VAR – like something's coming before it's all said and done. It always happens that way. Moose in Jamaica. What's up, Moose?
On Solo, the Imperial fleet approaches. We need to go into light speed.
Make sure it's fixed.
So, I know your name set me up for that, what you called the program today. So, yeah, for what it's worth, congratulations to the Knicks as a Nets fan of recent memory, of recent years. I'm not hating. You deserve it. It's been a while since New York has had a championship. I didn't go to the parade because I'm a Nets fan. I can't celebrate. It's not my team. But I have to show respect where respect is due and stay down till I come up. And ultimately, hopefully, the Yankees with moves. See, I think we should move on from Jazz now that he's a free agent. And obviously, the Giants have Matt Chapman and Luis Arias, better contact, a little bit of power and a right-handed bat in Chapman. Pick him up, send Jazz and some prospects their way, pick those 2 guys up. I don't think we need Scooble. We have enough pitching. And I'm going to beat this drum. I want to see Mike Trout play for a winner, a contender that's motivated. He's motivated to get a ring. He's coming up on the end of his career. I'd like to see him play center instead of Grisham in crucial moments in the playoffs. Grisham is hit or miss in the playoffs. Sometimes he's hot, sometimes he's not. And maybe 2 bullpen pieces. I think we beat anybody in the World Series in 5 games if we pick up those pieces, because we'll just have a lineup 1 through 6 of Rice, Judge, Trout, Bellinger, Stanton, and Chapman. And that will just force any starting pitcher and bullpen to really work hard, and we'll dominate. We'll actually hit. We'll be clutch. That's our problem in the postseason, not the pitching, the hitting. Thanks for taking my call.
All right, Moose. Well, first of all, you named a bunch of guys that are injured, and that's something that you can't overlook. The other thing is Trout. Trout's got to want to leave. He doesn't want to leave. He's happy where he is. This is who he wants to be. I don't think he'd really love playing in New York with the spotlight and the attention, all this stuff. I don't think that's for him. It's just not his way. So you're never going to see him ask for a trade. And again, for a franchise that is being very careful with their pennies, and we don't know what's coming on the other side of next year with a new deal, when it comes to salary cap and no salary cap, it does not seem like a move that they would make. It does not seem like it. But we can always dream. That's what it's about. But you mentioned Judge. How do you know he's coming back? That's right. How do you know he's coming back? That's not a real thing yet, is it? So you cannot count on that yet. You never know. 800-919-3776. We get more of your calls. We do have a home run derby tonight, and Ben Rice is featured in this home run derby. He's had a hell of a start to the season. He's a great story. He's going to be an all-star as well. Home run derby to me is the showcase. And for me, when it comes to all-stars anymore, the all-star weekends and all-star, breaks in all the major sports, how much do we really need these games anymore? Especially when the players are telling you they don't even want to be part of it. We'll get into that. More of your calls. Giants, 4 o'clock. Dan Graziano going to join us. Plenty more to get to with you. It is Hahn Solo with Don, Hahn, and Rosenberg, ESPN New York.
When care matters most, experience matters more. The Allure Group is redefining rehabilitation and long-term care across New York with 6 convenient locations. Their expert clinicians create personalized care plans to help you recover, rebuild, and get back to what matters most. From short-term rehab to long-term care, Allure is committed to comfort, dignity, and results. To learn more, visit allurecare.com. The Allure Group, where care meets compassion.
On the biggest stage in the world, FanDuel is changing the game because sometimes your player gets subbed off and your bet goes with them. Not anymore. With FanDuel Super Sub, if your player is subbed out, your bet stays in. That's right. If your player leaves the match, your bet continues on with the substitute. So you're still in it until the final whistle. Visit FanDuel.com/local to get started now. All through this tournament, the betting options on FanDuel bring you straight onto the pitch. Who will score the first goal? How many shots will each team have during the match? It's all right there in the app. And with same-game parlays, you have a chance for bigger payouts. And best of all, with FanDuel, you get paid instantly when you win. Let there be goals this summer on FanDuel. 21 plus and physically present in New York. Caught with a gambling problem? Call 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369.
Miller time. People think it just happens, but that's not true. You know what you gotta do? You gotta go say hello with some beers. Make the plans. Forget the couch. Go to that thing. Play the game. See him in person. Talk to that stranger. Live a little. Small acts of rebellion that bring us together. Because legendary moments start with a light. It's Miller time. Celebrate responsibly. 2026 Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
Wherever your day takes you, across New Jersey, into New York, or down to Philadelphia, New Jersey Transit gets you there. Skip the traffic and stay on track. With busy travel periods ahead, plan ahead, check schedules, and allow extra time for your trip. From work days to weekends, New Jersey Transit keeps your routine moving with reliable, convenient service. Ride smart. Plan your trip at njtransit.com.
Okay, girls, ready to go?
Yeah! Mom, I'm hungry. Can I have a snack? Me too, Mommy.
You want a snack?
Yeah!
Got it?
Children learn from our behaviors.
Mommy, can you open this,
All right, hold on 1 second. Okay. Okay, here.
Thank you.
They learn what is okay from the adults they see.
Mommy, are you on your phone?
If you're a distracted driver, chances are they will be too. What kind of driver are you raising? Funded by the Governor's Traffic Safety Committee.
Now let's take a look at the traffic with Brandy Scott.
Hey there, guys. Good afternoon. We've got a pretty bad ride on the Staten Island Expressway eastbound over by Slauson Avenue. Crash taking out the 2 center lanes involves a mini school bus. Been out there for a while. Traffic is jammed and starting to back up onto the Goethals Bridge. After that, no issues at all at the Verrazano. You're in great shape heading into Brooklyn. Inbound George, still have some road work on both the upper and lower decks. It'll run you about 30 to 40 minutes using 80, 95, and 46. Definitely a bit better from the Route 4 approach. Heaviest delays to the outbound George Cross Bronx westbound. You're packed from the Bronx River Parkway. Outbound Lincoln already about 5 to 10. Outbound Hahn 15 to 20. This report is sponsored by the Positive Coaching Alliance. Questions about youth or high school sports? While the PCA can help, it's a national nonprofit developing better athletes and better people through youth and high school sports. More info at positivecoach.org. I'm Brandy Scott on 880 ESPN New York.
It's Rich Eisen for Pella Windows and Doors. Sometimes teams take a timeout to regroup and call the right play. When it comes to your home, Pella Windows and Doors always has the winning game plan. They do it every day, and that's why your neighbors trust them. Visit Pella.com/Eisen today. Right now, Pella Windows and Doors of New Jersey is offering buy one, get one, 50% off windows and doors, and no payments, no interest for 24 months. Some restrictions may apply. See local showroom for details. Offer ends July 31st, 2026.
In my world, you're always sorting through information, trying to find what matters most fast. Well, if you're hiring, you can now review all these resumes and applications faster thanks to ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter has a new feature that instantly shows you the most interested, qualified candidates first. ZipRecruiter's matching technology finds qualified candidates quickly. And with ZipRecruiter's new feature, qualified candidates show up at the top of your list. Try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/sports. Meet your match on ZipRecruiter.
All right, so ESPN New York's Home Run Derby coverage is presented by Pella Window and Doors of New Jersey. Visit Pella.com/Eisen to find your local showroom today. So it is Derby night tonight for baseball. To me, I think this is the best of all the four major sports, of all the all-star, events that they do. I think the Home Run Derby is now taking over. I mean, we all know the slam dunk contest sucks. Like, that's out. Please. There really isn't anything. Hockey used to have some fun stuff. That's gone. That's not the same. Does anybody even watch the Pro Bowl? Honestly? Like all the other stuff that the silly stuff they were doing with the Pro Bowl? Nobody's watching that. 2 million people watched the Pro Bowl last February. 2 million. For the NFL, that's like a commercial break for them. 2 million people, that's all you could get? It just shows you it is not interesting to the fans anymore. They don't want to consume that. And people in the NFL fans consume everything, and they don't want to consume that. But the Home Run Derby, this is special. And it's, by the way, for those who don't know, not only is it 8 o'clock, you can get the full coverage right here on ESPN New York, but it's on Netflix. Get ready for that. Is anybody else bothered by the fact that I pay for Netflix as a streaming service, and as I'm watching whatever shows I'm watching, including tonight's Home Run Derby, there's commercial breaks. Why? Why are there commercial breaks when I'm already paying for the streaming service, right? Now I got to get pounded over the head with commercials? That's just what's happening now. It keeps changing, and, of course, anytime you can monetize, you will, and Major League Baseball will. They are doing a different system. The clock is gone. Jeff Passan hates it. I mean, I don't, we're going to see, right? But I don't know if it's something I'm ready to hate as much as I think it's something that is going to be different, and it might, the urgency and the speed of the night might be affected. Here's Passan on First Take about the Home Run Derby format you're going to see tonight.
Genuinely, I'm worried about.
Jeff Passan.
I think it's going to stink. And I'm genuinely, I'm worried about that, because the whole reason that the timer came in the first place is because it felt really slow. And the timer brought urgency, and the timer brought a countdown and an end. And we're just going to see tonight, I think, time between pitches. It's going to grind a little bit. But look, when you have Junior Caminero in there and Kyle Schwarber in there and Bryce Harper and luminaries who can hit the ball 500 feet, it's still going to be a good show. And at the end of the day, all we want to do is see people hit balls really far. And I think we're going to see that tonight.
You're going to see it for sure. But are you going to get bored quickly because the at-bats just take longer? I kind of like the clock. I like the urgency of it. I like the fact that, look, did we see every single swing? Do you need to? I mean, at least you got to see. You knew when somebody was hitting it out. I thought some of the split screen was good. There was just a speed to it and a tempo to it. I thought that's what made it more entertaining. They're changing it. We shall see. But, yeah, you got Schwarber, Caminero, he mentioned, Jordan Walker, Bryce Harper, Wilson Contreras. You've got some names there. And you also got Ben Rice from the Yankees. So this should be fun. And Ben Rice's dad is pitching to him, Dan, which is such a cool story. And I was actually was able to connect with Dan Rice earlier today, went back and forth with him a little bit about it. A couple of hockey dads, that's all. And he was going to try to make time for us if he could. They're already at the stadium, believe it or not, getting ready for the event tonight. So, you never know. He could pop on, but it's going to be tough. But we did talk about it a little bit, and he was just excited because think about it. Like if you're a dad, you've been pitching to your son since he's little, right? So imagine having that opportunity to pitch to him at an all-star event at the Home Run Derby when your son is going to be an all-star. Like, come on, that's top shelf. Like that's it, the highest of the highs when it comes to being a dad. And you've gone through this whole journey with one of your kids, and to be able to experience that, it's so cool. So, anyways, that's what's happening tonight on that front. But overall, again, when it comes to all-star weekends, the game itself, which is tomorrow, does it matter anymore? As a kid, I actually remember scoring all-star games. That's how much of a nerd I was back in the day. American League versus National League. I'd have the scorebook out, score the game. It was all fired up. I was a Yankee fan, so the American League had to win. Suddenly you're rooting for players that you hate on other teams, but you're rooting for them because you want your side to win. And there was difference, too. The American League and the National League, different style of play. One side had DH. The other side believed no DH, pitchers. One side played home run, power ball. The other side was, get them on, get them over, and get them in. There was just there was more focus on pitching. And now it's like everybody plays the same way. And it's kind of the same. There is no difference. And think about this, too. Player gets hurt in the All-Star game. How do you feel? Not good, right? Like, why did he pitch? He shouldn't have pitched. He got hurt. Game meant nothing. So think about what you're saying. Game means nothing. So if it means nothing, why are we doing it? NBA All-Star game next year, like they did it this year. It did pretty well. It was on NBC. It got about 8 million people watching. And it was the world and then 2 U.S. teams, round robin. Wemby called out people. It was a little more entertaining. But it still was like just short scrimmages. It wasn't like the big presentation it used to be where just stars and they play against each other and they cared. They don't care. NHL's going to 3-on-3 next year. 3-on-3. Like, what's 3-on-3 hockey? I heard DiPietro say it. It's like summer hockey. It's true. Now, it's again to make it interesting, but it's like, it's just a different format. Already talked about the Pro Bowl. Does anybody really care about the Pro Bowl? Nobody cares about that. Flag football? No, not the Pro Bowl. So when you have Cam Schlittler say, I'm not going to pitch because it's not the day he's supposed to throw hard. He doesn't want to throw hard on a day like this. It's just like his throw day, but why would he ramp it up? It's an all-star game, so you're not going to show up and throw 85. This guy throws gas. He's going to want to perform. It's the right thing to do when you're on that kind of a stage. But why do I want to throw my arm out in this game when it's really not supposed to be the night I throw hard? I got to pitch from my team. And Schlittler knows how important he is to the Yankees. Don't you? So when he says, I'm declining, I'm not going to play, do you hold it against him? What do you mean? It's a showcase for the league. It's important you play. Zach Wheeler said, I don't want to go because I'm your 5th choice. I don't want to. I'm not an all-star. Like it's like the Pro Bowl in the NFL or anything else. If you're named a replacement all-star, are you really an all-star? Like, are you really a Pro Bowler if like you're like the 12th guy they had to get to because no one else could play before you? And that's what Zach Wheeler was saying. If you didn't want to pick me first as an all-star, why am I going 5th? I'm really not an all-star. Now you just need somebody. I'm a fill-in. I'm a seat warmer. I'm just here because you need somebody. Like that. Like you don't want to be that. So when you get players doing this, the kid Mizorowski he's got a dead arm. You think? Kid throws 100 miles an hour every game. But when it comes time to showcase him, didn't get to see him against Skeens, and now we won't get to see him in the All-Star game, in the biggest game, the biggest stage for the sport to see all the stars come together because he's got a dead arm. And it's smarter for him. It's not that he's going to on the IL, but it's smarter for him to take the break and take the rest because it's a long season, and we all know what matters. The regular season for your team, and most importantly, October. And you don't want something in July, the Midsummer Classic, to affect what you are or who you are come October. So if it's not that important for the players to participate in for various reasons I just laid out, how important is it to you? Home Run Derby's fun. You could have still a day where you celebrate the game, where you do the little things, you play your little softball game, celebrity softball game, you have your home run derby, and then we just call it a day. We name the All-Star team, and we all go home. Would you be okay with that? Because it seems like for a lot of people, if my player in a sport where everybody seems to break down all the time, if my player gets hurt because of a swing he took in the home run derby or because he threw one too many pitches in his appearance in the All-Star game, and if he just comes in for one batter, I mean, what are we doing? I came all the way here to just pitch the one batter. It could be one pitch, could be two pitches. That's all I got. Why am I here? So how much would you really miss it if these leagues all decided we don't need to have a game? Now remember, everything's about money. And for all the leagues, All-Star weekends are about making money. It's a convention. What they want is to bring in all of their partners, and they bring them in, and that's their way of like having their big convention. It's like baseball con, football con, basketball con, Comic Con, Fanatics Fest. Like that's basically what All-Star weekends are. It's just a way to make money. But the game itself, no longer a showcase for the sport, right? Still can have good moments. Don't get me wrong. They can still have good moments. But it's not what it was. And especially when you're finding yourself going down to like the fifth replacement because somebody got hurt or somebody doesn't want to go, it does kind of turn into a bit of a sham. Because if you're not the first choice All-Star, if you're a replacement All-Star, are you still an All-Star? Are you really an All-Star? That's the question that I have for you. More calls, 800-919-3776. Let's go to Flavio in Brooklyn. You've been waiting a bit. What's up, Flavio?
Hey, how's it going?
Good.
Alan, what's it called? So I'm excited for the All-Star game. My thing is that, what's it called? I know that you had said last week that you didn't want Ben Rice to be partaking in it. But I feel like the way that he swings the bat, and especially that this is in Philadelphia, if I'm not mistaken, like I have like zero to no worries. I'm a Mets fan, and I'm not no Yankee supporter by any means necessary, but I have a feeling that he's gonna end up winning just because of the fact that his swing, his style, how short that stadium is, and plus if you're gonna bet him, I mean the numbers have him at plus 1,000. I mean that's a really good number right there. I think he's gonna be a dark horse here. Do not be surprised if you see him in the finals. I mean, when he swings, I mean, it looks like he doesn't exert a lot of energy, not like Harper, who has like that huge uppercut and stuff like that. And I feel like Schwarber and Harper are going to carry a lot of pressure because they're going to be doing it in front of Philly. So
put on a show,
guys, I'm being serious. I mean, just look into Ben Rice and putting money into him. I mean, the favorite to me is Junior Caminero.
Okay. Flavio with some betting advice on the home run derby tonight. Thank you, Flavio. I said it last week, and I kind of regret because, with the Judge injury, I'm like, I don't want to see another guy impacted. It wasn't as much as Ben getting hurt as it was. We have seen sometimes the home run derby does mess up someone's swing. But when you think about who's throwing to him, which is not a pitching coach, it's his dad who's been throwing to him his whole life. You think if anybody knows exactly where to put the ball, it'd be him. And his father pitched in college. So it's not like, he's just like a regular dad who's never an athlete. So it's a cool story. I'm interested in seeing it. And I mentioned it last week only in passing because with all the injuries they have, you just didn't want to see, he's having such a great year. He's got 29 home runs. He's basically on pace for 50. Can you imagine that? What a year he's having, that I just would like to see him be able to continue that in the second half of the season because he's so important to this team, especially with all the injuries. Let's see. We got let's go. Manny and Flushing. Good. You're up next, Manny.
Hey, Alan, how you doing?
Good.
Hey, listen, you brought up earlier about who's going to be the next team to win a title after the Knicks. I'm going to just pick the Yankees because I think, the Yankees, I know that they've been struggling as of late, because of Judge. By the time he gets back, I think the Yankees on a roll. And I also want to ask you this. I heard that you heard. What are your thoughts of this? This Bam Adebayo, Tyler Hero.
I'm going to get into that. 4:30. We do a weekend wrap up. 4:30.
Okay, good.
I've got that on the dock at 4:30. I'm going to tell you what happened. Yeah, I'll tell you exactly what happened.
Yes. You could,
yep. I'll get on that.
Yeah. Thank you. Because thank you, sir. Thank
very interesting story and very interesting fallout from it as well. Appreciate that. Maddie said something, as we're going to get back to calls coming up next. A lot of you want to talk Yankees, and that's great. He said, when Judge comes back. I'm going to throw it out here because no one wants to seem to talk about this. Are we sure Judge is coming back? 800-919-3776. Han Solo on Don, Hahn, and Rosenberg, ESPN New York.
Good Karma Brands is proud to be an equal opportunity employer, providing equal employment, development, and advancement opportunities to all teammates and applicants. To learn more about careers with us, please send an email to talentacquisition@goodkarmabrands.com. That's talentacquisition@goodkarmabrands.com.
Tickets are on sale now at fanaticsfest.com as Fanatics Fest NYC returns to the Javits Center on Thursday, July 16th through the 19th. The world's #1 sports fan festival puts you where sports, collecting, culture, and entertainment collide. See stars like Tom Brady, Aaron Judge, Jalen Brunson, and hundreds more, including live panels and podcasts, exclusive merch, and Fanatics games with $2 million in prizes. Go to fanaticsfest.com to get your tickets today.
Monkey Sports, built by players for players, is your one-stop shop for hockey, baseball, lacrosse, and more. Find top-name equipment and expert in-store services like sharpening, break-ins, and relacing. Shop in-store at Monkey Sports in Farmingdale or Woodbridge or online for all the top brands. Whatever your sports, Monkey Sports gets you game ready fast. Monkey Sports, where athletes shop.
When's the last time payroll was the easy part of your week? With Gusto, it can be. Gusto is the all-in-one platform designed to take the hassle out of managing your team, from payroll and compliance to hiring, onboarding, and more. With Gusto, you can get back 2 full days each month with all the time you've saved. Go to gusto.com today and learn why over 500,000 small businesses choose Gusto. That's GUSTO.com. Gusto.com.
Harry Douglas here to help you ignite your taste buds with Firework Freeze 5-Hour Energy Shots. Juicy cherry, citrus lime, and blue raspberry. It's that iconic freezer pop flavor, but with none of that guilty sugar aftermath. The perfect summer kick. It's delicious, portable, zero sugar energy shot bursting with flavor. Bring on the summer with Firework Freeze 5-Hour Energy Shots, available online at 5hourenergy.com and on Amazon.
Download to see if you qualify. Not all customers will qualify. Transfer fees may apply. No Albert subscription required. Albert is not a bank. Albert Instant Loans are issued by FinWise Bank, member FDIC. Not an actual client. Terms apply.
Kylie, what's wrong? I just got hit with a car repair bill. I'm behind on rent, and I feel like I can never save any money.
Have you tried the Albert app? Albert is your financial assistant, helping you find ways to save and create custom budgets to actually grow your money. Plus, you can get up to $10,000 for big expenses, or advance up to $1,000 fast when you need cash right away.
Albert can get me up to $10,000?
Exactly. Albert spots you in a pinch and helps you grow your money in the long run.
I'm downloading Albert right now.
Download the Albert app and use promo code CLEAR to borrow up to $10,000 for whatever you need. The Albert app helps you budget better and save more money so you reach your financial goals faster. Download the Albert app right now and use promo code CLEAR to borrow up to $10,000. Use code CLEAR to borrow up to $10,000.
Congratulations, New York. The Knicks did it. Through battle after battle, they dominated to become this year's NBA champions. Day in and day out, the hard work paid off, and you were there every step of the way. Enjoy the crown. Own it, because this year is your year. A part of your legacy that will never be forgotten. So celebrate this moment, show your pride, and shop the largest selection of official NBA gear at NBAstore.com. A Fanatics experience.
I see what Jake's doing. Put me right in the right mood, baby. Look, I know we're in the middle of summer, July. We've had some weather, haven't we? This weekend was I know Saturday wasn't great. Sunday, unreal. Not a cloud in the sky. Today, beautiful. If you had a chance to enjoy today, God bless. Because this is the part of the summer where, yeah, it's hot. It's supposed to be hot. But it's not like that humid, disgusting hot. It's just that right kind of summer feel. So this is beautiful. The last 2 days been great. And, again, if you can enjoy it, the best you can, enjoy it. I know Don is. He's on vacation this week. Peter will be back with us tomorrow, so we'll have bullpen coyotes for the rest of the week, Peter and I, which will be a lot of fun. But it's just you and me today. Han Solo, 800-919-3776. Just before Manny called in and he said, well, when Judge comes back, and I just said, hang on a second, are you sure Judge is coming back? There's no timetable. They're going to look into it. I mean, I think it's like early August, middle of August will be the target date of when they're going to probably check again and see what's going on with that stress fracture in that rib that he's got. But right now, he can't throw. He's not swinging a bat. He can't do anything. He's got to let it heal. Again, stress fracture takes time to heal. You know how you heal a stress fracture? No movement. And that's tough to do in a rib when you're a baseball player. So he hasn't played in over a month now, right? It's a month and a half, I think. And, of course, they're going to reassess. But what we're talking about, though, is a mid-August maybe. And then by then, what does it become? If he's still not right, if he still can't do much, or if he's still limited, you get to September. There's a ramp-up, everybody. It's not like in some sports. Well, actually, you don't have that anymore, where you come back from injury and you just play right away. Everything's a ramp-up now, especially with a guy like him. So if we're now all of a sudden into late August, early September, and we're starting a ramp-up period with him, what are we doing? Is he really going to play? And who among you, if he's like, look, because Judge, I'll do whatever it takes. I want to be ready for the playoffs, which I think is the best thing to do. If you're the Yankees, you tread water without him, which they've been doing, and you make the playoffs. But if he comes, and I expect he might, he comes back in time for the playoffs. Maybe he gets some swings in the last 2 weeks. Who knows? Remember, last 2 weeks, won 4-game series at home against the Rays. That could have implications. But if he's not himself, you're going to hold it against him? We're going to do this whole same old Judge crap? You're going to do this whole thing how he's not clutch? Or are you going to give him the benefit of, you know what, he didn't play for 3 months. Then he had to ramp himself back up, get ready to play. And of course he's going to be rusty. Of course it's going to be difficult. How are you going to handle that? Because you know what's coming. So if you're the Yankees, sure, you'd love to have him back. You can't rush him back. You can't do that to him. Because you got to make sure that he's right. Because if he isn't, you know the narrative. You know what everybody's going to do. They're going to talk about him being unclutch and not bring up the fact that he's got a stress fracture in his rib. And for a baseball player, you talk about a debilitating injury. Not one that you can't come back from, but not one you can come back from quickly. Not one you can come back from and all of a sudden everything's fine. The swing's fine. You can throw fine. We will know in a couple of weeks, of course. But right now, you can't assume anything. You can't just say, well, when he comes back. He'll be back at some point. But what version of him, when he does come back, are you going to get at the most important time of the year? That's why I'm saying don't just assume he'll be back and he'll be himself. This injury, definitely in the middle of a summer, messing with him. Back to your calls, 800-919-3776. Let's go to Steve in Middle Village. What's up, Steve?
Hey, Alan. Thanks for taking the call. I appreciate it.
Good to talk to you.
About what you just said about Judge, I still remember Mickey Mantle breaking his foot, and it took him in June of '63, and it took 2 months, and he only played 65 games, and he was a pinch hitter and all that other kind of stuff. They got swept in the World Series, but he wasn't 100%.
Wasn't himself.
You can't assume that Judge is going to be 100% or even 80%, and you can't hold it against him. Also, a lot of the talk I'd heard about Cole and Fried and when they get back and Rodon, you don't know. I mean, pitchers, and I'm not criticizing pitchers, you don't know, especially nowadays, how effective they are or how effective they're going to be. Cole isn't the same person, the same pitcher so far that he usually is on his baseball card, as you guys say. So I really called up about who's going to win the next championship. There's always a lot, and I'm an old Yankee fan, you're a Yankee fan, there's always a lot of talk about the Yankees winning the World Series, getting the playoffs. I'm sorry, I don't see it. In my gut, I don't see it, and I haven't seen it in a while. They don't have enough role players. I'm not talking about the strategies and all that stuff.
No, you're
That's
right.
Old news. They need a couple of people that actually know how to play baseball. I think the shortstop that they have is the guy, Caballero. I believe his name is.
Yeah.
I think he's a gamer. There are a few other people like that who are hungry. You need hungry players. Anyway, that's all I got to say. And thank you for taking the call. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Steve. Yeah, I think I'm getting this sentiment from a lot of Yankee fans I talk to, especially ones that are, I'm friends with, is the apprehension of really just believing anymore. There used to just be this bold belief that you just knew, like, well, they'll figure it out. They'll get a good player. And then like pitching, I'm not worried about it. I think Cole's going to find it. I think, he's working through it right now, but I just love his mentality. And I'm not concerned with him. I think Schlittler is he's the goods. Fried comes back. That can help. Rodon comes back. What conditions he in? What are you getting at him? But you got at least 3 ace-level pitchers. I'm not worried about it. Bullpen, Cash has got to do better. Duvall, disaster, right? Like, you got to do better with your bullpen. I think he knows it. Does Weathers move to the bullpen? And if he does, what is he? Because, he's hit or miss sometimes. He did have a nice outing over the weekend. But, man, that guy sometimes can just throw up some meatballs. But what Steve just said is the biggest issue with the Yankees. It's the grinders. I talked about this the other day with Don and Peter. Give me those guys at the bottom of the order that are grinders. No, they're not as talented. Of course not. But in the field, they're plus. They don't hurt you. And at the plate, they will battle. That's it. That's what you're looking for. I know you're not going to hit 25, 30 home runs, and I know you're not going to hit for average. But can you just battle through some at-bats? Can you make opposing pitchers work? When you get on the base paths, can you make things happen? That's what I want. And I feel like the Yankees have become like this franchise, as we know, that can only play one way. That's maddening to me, the only play one way thing. They try to get more athletic so they wouldn't get stuck doing that, but don't they still do it? They still do it. And that's the part I think makes me hesitant about believing in them as a franchise that will be there and that can build a championship team. They have the talent to be a championship team for the most part, but it's the system, it's the bottom of the order, it's the lack of grinders. They kind of have like these sort of same type of players at the bottom of the order rather than having guys. Although Caballero, I'll say, is one of them. Give me some guys that are just going to grind it out every game. Show up, battle, knowing that the stars are the guys that you're setting up. The big bats, top of the lineup. Give me that. I just don't know if they build the team that way anymore. But again, where they are, if they get healthy, big if, they still should be a team that's there. And that's what we're looking forward to. All right, coming up, speaking of championship franchises, let's get into the Giants. We talked a little bit about them last week. There are concerns I have. We're a couple of weeks away from training camp beginning, and Camp Harbaugh is not going to be easy. 10 practices in the first 11 days. Greenbrier, West Virginia, taking them away. Oh, they're in for a rude awakening. But our Giants fans may be in for a rude awakening about their expectations for the season. We'll get into that and more coming up next. Stay with us. This is Han Solo on Don, Hahn, and Rosenberg, ESPN New York.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Call 877-CARS-FOR-KIDS to reach a friendly live agent. Donation is super easy, and your car can be picked up as soon as tomorrow. Call us now or go to carsforkids.org.
7 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Did you know you can donate real estate too?
The World's Game at BetMGM is here. Bet on the soccer showdowns with 2-up early payouts so that if you're up 2, BetMGM will pay you. That's right. Place a pregame, straight match result bet on any tournament game. If at any point your team is up by 2 goals, you'll instantly win your bet. Then enjoy BetMGM's same-game parlays, daily promotions, player props, and so much more for the world's game. Don't miss your shot at an early win with 2-up early payout to get paid out if at any point your team is up by 2 goals, regardless of the final outcome of the match. Make it a tournament to remember with BetMGM. BetMGM and GameSense remind you to play responsibly. Gambling problem? Call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. See BetMGM.com for terms. 21 plus years of age to wager and physically present in New York only. New and existing customer offer. Subject to eligibility requirements. Additional terms and restrictions may apply.
There are a million reasons to love New York. Making your budget stretch isn't one of them. According to an independent study, Amazon prices average 14% lower than other retailers. Get food, fashion, furniture, and more shipped straight to your building. That's how Prime members have saved over $2 billion on grocery and household items. Learn more at aboutamazon.com.
In a world parched for excitement, one drink will emerge. Twisted Tea, the refreshing thrill ride of flavor. Recreating its classic role as the hard iced tea that goes down smooth. Twisted Tea doesn't just taste like real iced tea, it's made with real brewed tea and a 5% kick of alcohol. Taste the adventure with Twisted Tea Hard Iced Tea. Keep it twisted.
Twisted Tea Brewing Company, Cincinnati, Ohio. Please drink responsibly.
My name is Whitney Allen, and I'm a widow. My husband, Ryan, died. We never thought we'd ever have to use life insurance, but the unexpected happened. With Ethos, signing up was fast and 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. No medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage. I'm grateful we were prepared.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/play. That's ethos.com/play. Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
880 ESPN, WHSQ, and WCBS-FM HD2, New York. A Good Karma Brands radio station. Han Solo.
I just like that music. Never mind the intro. Don and Peter will be back. Well, Don is off this week. Peter will be back with us tomorrow. So, yeah, you just get me today. And so it always becomes like, okay, let me reach out to some friends to join me along the way. And the first thing I thought of right away, I said, I want to talk some Giants today. I want to talk some NFL today. And to do that, I want to bring in Dan Graziano, who's kind enough to take some time with us today, right now. Graz, how you doing?
Great, Alan. How are you?
I'm good. It's off season for me. You're about, what are you, about same. 2 weeks before it gets insane?
I leave on my training camp trip on the 30th, so 17 days. That's what I got left before.
Right. For those who don't know, every year
starts again.
Every year, Graz does a training camp journey where it's like, where in the world is Dan Graziano? He goes to different training camps.
Yeah.
What do you have mapped out this year? Where are you going to hit?
Right now, Kansas City. And then I'm going to do the LA teams, Rams, Chargers, see the Cowboys while I'm out in Southern California, 49ers, Raiders, and Vikings on the way back. That's what I got so far.
Oh, I like that. So, again, you get to see the Raiders situation. I haven't seen
in a few years. Yeah.
Well, the Raiders situation is going to be fun, right, to see what happens there with the quarterbacks and what happens with Mendoza and Kirk Cousins. They're already doing like this twins thing. It's hilarious. But it won't be funny once the season starts.
The Step Brothers and all that, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
At least they're bought into it, which is nice. But before we go around the NFL, let's just locally here, because I'm curious how you feel about where the Giants are, not the expectations thing, because you've covered them, you've covered sports in New York long enough to know that there's reasonable expectations and then there's what the fans make as expectations. And when you bring in a John Harbaugh, you know that just kind of does a times 10 to no matter what you're doing, even if it's just step one of a rebuild or a build up, whatever you want to call it. What are your professional opinion expectations of a Giants team that won 4 games last year with what they have right now going into this coming season?
I think I expect improvement. I'm not all the way there yet with like, it could be a sleeper team, playoff contender, that kind of thing. feel like it needs another off season to get where it needs to be. You mentioned they only won 4 games. The difference is the Harbaugh part of it, right? Because we've seen, if you're a Giants fan over the past decade, there's been a couple of flare-ups of like competence and excitement. There was the first year Ben McAdoo, they won 11 games. They went to the playoffs. They lost in Green Bay in the playoffs. And then there was the first year Brian Daboll where they made the playoffs and he was coach of the year and Daniel Jones played well and all this. So you've seen it, but it didn't sustain in either of those cases. John Harbaugh makes you feel like if you have that kind of year, or even if you just have a better one, that, you know, it will sustain. This is a man that knows how to build a winning program. He comes from a winning organization. He was there a very long time and had a team that by and large was in contention every single year. So that's where the hope is. I think they're a lot better on the offensive line than they've been in a long time. I think, you know, defensively, they have playmakers on that side of the ball. I'm a little concerned about the playmaker options on the offensive side of the ball if Malik Neighbors isn't fully healthy, and it doesn't sound like he's going to be fully healthy, certainly not right away. So that's my concern, in addition to, you know, can Jaxson Dart learn to protect himself, et cetera, et cetera. But I think you see talent at key positions, and if they're healthy, you know, they could be a tough team for people to play. I just don't see them as a like division title contender after just the one Harbaugh offseason.
Yeah, especially in this division when you consider, again, you've got the Eagles who might have one of the best rosters in the league, a Cowboys team that has a great receiver core, and your secondary has not been very good, and they keep trying to build it. But that should be a challenge on that front. And then, of course, there's Washington. And what are they going to be? But with a healthy Daniels, they still have a better quarterback than you do, or at least a more experienced one. So can we live in that quarterback space, which is always the most important piece with a lot of these franchises? With Jaxson Dart, my concern, and again, you're a guy that has covered not only the Giants, but you covered the Yankees. You know, covering the big teams in this town, the quarterback position is going to be one that's going to get a ton of attention. I felt like last year was his honeymoon. People just loved him because he was, you know, young. He was a new face. He did play well at times, and there was just something about a future and a feel of, hey, I want this kid to be good really bad. But now that there's expectations, how much of it is on the shoulders of Jaxson Dart? Like, is there a ton of pressure on this kid to show this year that he's the guy? Because he wasn't Harbaugh's guy. He is now, but it doesn't mean he is going forward.
Right. And that's, you know, and you've got to learn a new offense. They changed offensive coordinators as well. Anybody that's learning a new offense is going to be a learning curve. He spent last year learning Brian Daboll's offense. Right. Now it's, you know, all these coaches they brought in, Matt Nagy and Greg Roman and all these guys. So, yeah, I think a lot of pressure on Jaxson Dart. What he did last year was he showed some stuff. You could watch Jaxson Dart last year and get behind the idea of this guy can be a good and winning NFL quarterback. He makes those kinds of plays. So what you need is see more of it and fewer of the bad ones and less time in the blue tent. And that is the critical part of it for Jaxson Dart is you don't want to take his legs away because it's a key part of what makes him great. But you have to impress upon him the importance of him being on the field. And how many times last year, even if he didn't miss the game, did we see, he's got to miss a few plays because he's got to get checked out. So that is a big – it's easier said than done with young quarterbacks. You come into the league feeling invincible. You know, it's just – so we haven't seen it yet, and we won't until, I guess, a preseason game if he plays in those. John Harbaugh has some experience breaking in a young quarterback and having success with him in Lamar Jackson some years ago. So – not comparing the two players, but this was obviously a player that needed to learn to use his legs for good and learn ways to keep himself out of trouble physically, and he did that. So maybe John Harbaugh applies some of the principles that went into that to Jaxson Dart's development here. But there was enough positive shown last year. If you're a Giants fan, you want to get excited about the kid. I cannot blame you. I'm excited to see what he looks like in year 2 and in a new offense.
Dan Graziano joining us right now, talking some NFL, talking some Giants, and on the Jaxson Dart story that I'm going to be watching very closely as this begins for beyond on the field. Because as you just talked about, he did show you I thought he was very competent when he was, running the offense. I thought he gave him a spark. You could see the guys rallied around him. There was a lot of good there. I thought he processed for a young player. I thought he processed really well, and he knew when to go. He almost had that feel. It's like there's certain quarterbacks that just don't have that feel when the pocket's closed and they get almost like that fight or flight instinct. He always knew when it was time to flight. Some people thought too much, but I felt all that stuff was good. But you, again, with your experience covering, to me, at the podium is what I got worried about. And I wonder if with the pressure on him this year, like how much he kind of got his back up about what they were saying to him about, you shouldn't run as much. Well, that's my game. That's what I do. That's what got me here. He fought back a lot. And I wonder if things don't go really well for the team and they're not winning as much. Is he going to be able to handle what comes with being the quarterback of the New York Giants and facing the New York media regularly? Have you seen anything out of him that worries you about his maturity factor? He's 23. Like, he still has a lot of growing up to do. You've covered enough to know. You've seen this happen before. Is that something to watch this year?
Sure. I think, the sort of arrogance that he plays with is something you don't want to take away from him because it lends itself to big-time play. And I think we saw a lot of that last year. The message, if you're the coaching staff, is about the team. The team is counting on you. This isn't about you having to change who you are. This is about you having to be there for your teammates. And you know from experience last year that there were stretches of time in games where you weren't. And we need to reduce those because all these other guys are counting on you. If all goes well, you're going to end up making the most money. But these guys' livelihoods are going to depend on your ability to get to that point. So I mentioned this before. I mean, not just Harbaugh. They bring in Matt Nagy as offensive coordinator. Brian Callahan is on the coaching staff as a passing game coordinator. Greg Roman is on the coaching staff as an offensive assistant. These are all coaches that have experience bringing along young quarterbacks. Lamar Jackson in Baltimore with Roman and Harbaugh. Brian Callahan was there when Joe Burrow broke in Cincinnati, and then he was breaking in Cam Ward last year. Obviously, it didn't last very long. Nagy was in Kansas City when Patrick Mahomes broke in. Not as good with Justin Fields in Chicago, but I think what's happened with Fields since then indicates that maybe it wasn't Matt's fault. Right. So you have a collection of people that have experience with this. So if they're getting together and shaping the message that they want to deliver to Jaxson Dart, this is how you have to conduct yourself day in, day out. This is what being the quarterback of an NFL team and in New York City means in terms of how you have to set the example in the building. All these other guys will look to you. The press conference is not a throwaway. It's something that, other people will be watching your press conferences to see how theirs should go. So the experience of the coaching staff and the specific experience of these coaches with young quarterbacks, I think gives the Giants a pretty good chance to have success here in terms of what they need to do with Jaxson Dart.
Yeah, I'm rooting for the kid because he's a good story and because he does have a good personality. It could all work out well here, but that one part always I wince to call. I always say this. Whenever somebody says something stupid or says something out of line at a podium, there's always a PR guy on, nearby face palming, going, "Oh, why did he do that?" Right? And so there was a couple of times this past year, I'm like, "Come on, kid! Like, don't do that." And so I want to see him kind of mature from that because it'll only be better. Look, they had Eli Manning here for years, who mastered the deadpan and the expressionless response.
Never put one foot wrong. Yeah,
and absolutely. Never took anything personal. At least. Not public, he didn't show you he took things personal. We learned later he's very petty, which is hilarious, but he kept it internal. I think also, Daniel Jones, for all his faults, especially getting hurt so much, but Daniel Jones had that same demeanor where no matter what you asked him, he never seemed to get rattled. And that's important, I think, in this market, especially with that franchise. Dart wears it on his sleeve, and that's, again, one area to watch. One more on the Giants, Dan, is the weakness of this team would be offensive line or secondary? Which would be the bigger concern for you going into the season?
Well, I'd be more concerned about the secondary. I like what they've done on the offensive line. To me, if Andrew Thomas stays healthy, which has been an if, obviously, in his career, I think the offensive line looks pretty good and actually has a little bit of depth to it. But on the back end in the secondary, it's tough to find help back there. That's where I look and say maybe they need another off season to build that out. Maybe use this season to see who from back there, can be part of the program moving forward. But that would be my bigger concern. On the defensive side of the ball, the secondary, and also up front in the middle, Dexter Lawrence is no small loss, literally and figuratively. So they were a team that had a hard time stopping the run last year. They lose their best interior defensive lineman. Let's see what they do about stopping the run this year.
All right, a couple of things around the NFL. First and foremost, I know there's a top 10 quarterback list that was put out by our colleague, Jeremy Fowler did this. And I remember a time where people were mad that Jalen Hurts was ranked too low or too high, whatever it was. Now he's an also-ran. He's an honorable mention. He's not even in the top 10. What are the Eagles? Without A.J. Brown, what are the Eagles going forward with this team? Because the roster looks good, but are they still that same formidable team we expect them to be year after year?
I believe the Eagles are are as big a question mark as they've been in a very long time for a couple of reasons. One, obviously, they no longer have their number one wide receiver, A.J. Brown. For whatever it fell apart there, he was still extremely productive. And they're going to have to replace that production with guys that haven't proven that they can play at that level. So that's one thing to watch. The other thing to watch is they are installing a new offense. It feels like they're always installing a new offense every year around Jalen Hurts. But this time it's a more significant change than he's even seen in the past. So that's worth watching. The offensive line coach, Jeff Stoutland, departs the organization after, I believe, 13 years. Guys like, Lane Johnson and Landon Dickerson and Jordan Mailata, the mainstay offensive linemen there, have only known Stoutland. They can't, like Jordan Mailata didn't play football until he got to the Eagles. Jeff Stoutland basically taught him how to play football. So the significance of that change, coupled with the fact that some of those guys are getting a little bit older, it makes you wonder, because so much of their success 2 years ago was based on the dominance of that offensive line and its ability to open the one hole for Saquon Barkley and let him do the rest. If that's not as reliable as it was 2 years ago, and we saw this last year, then the offense becomes a bigger question mark. So that's what I'm looking at with Jalen Hurts and the Eagles. It's a lot of change in a short period of time, and to me, it makes them as big a question mark as I think we've seen from them in a long while.
Yeah, the old line's getting older and maybe rickety, and if that falls apart, it changes everything for Barkley and obviously for Hurts. The Cowboys have, would you say, the best wide receiver pair in the league? Is that fair to say?
Cincinnati might have something to say about that, or maybe the Rams, but you could make that case. There's no question about it. I mean,
how dangerous does that make
Lamb
them?
and George Pickens.
Yeah. So how dangerous
coming off the year he had? Yeah.
Yeah. So how dangerous do you say that makes them, if we're assuming health is with Dak, and we're assuming the Cowboys made the necessary changes to defense to make them a better defensive team? Every year we always do this, and I know you love it because it's, on Get Up or First Take, it's always got to get the Cowboys in. It's just the same as getting in LeBron on the NBA side of things. You always got to get that in. Golden State, make sure you mention them. Dallas is always going to be that team, but every year it just starts to become redundant. Like every year, is this going to be the year? But am I crazy to say, could this be a year for the Dallas Cowboys because of what they've got, the weapons they have offensively?
No, I don't think you're crazy, but it's a team that hasn't been to the conference championship game in 3 decades. So there is an element of we have to see it to believe it with the Dallas Cowboys. I believe that they could have the best offense in the league if things break right with those receivers and that tight end and the running game they established with Javonte Williams last year around a top-level quarterback when healthy and an offensive line that has been very good. They draft very well at those offensive line positions, and they keep that unit strong. And it's again, assuming health, it's a good one. So the question, as you mentioned, is did they do enough on defense? They grabbed the defensive coordinator from the Eagles coaching staff, Christian Parker, who's an up-and-comer, well-respected, well-regarded as a coaching prospect. If all goes well in Dallas, you're going to continue to hear his name for bigger and bigger jobs. But if he's the real deal, which they think he is, and the additions they've made on that side of the ball, which are pretty good on paper, can get them to middle of the pack or better, they become an extremely dangerous team because of the way they can score points.
Yeah. Well, Graz, we just saw a 53-year drought end. Who's to say 3 decades can't come to an end
sure
as well?
Did.
You're right, though.
Yeah.
We have to see it to believe it.
Maybe England wins the World Cup, right? That's been 60 years.
Well, then it's a trend.
Who knows? There's still, so then we get back to, we talk about the Cowboys. Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, Carolina Hurricanes.
And then the Jets.
See, now, I didn't even want to bring the Jets up.
No, we're not doing that?
I didn't want to bring them up, but I'm going to.
Well, we're talking about droughts.
Yeah, well, there's none bigger than that one. Literally in New York now. And I feel like for them, I don't want to have expectations, despite the fact that Bart has told me he thinks this could be a top 7, top 12 offense on paper, talent-wise. But I do feel like the one thing I do like what I've seen, and I know you pay attention to this stuff, I feel like at least when it comes to how the organization's being run, which I'm going to give credit to Darren Muji, I do feel like they're in a good place there. Roster management, roster building. Would you say that at least about the Jets?
I would. They still, Geno Smith's not going to be the long-term answer at quarterback. That's the biggest thing hanging over them. And obviously the 3 first-round picks next year are probably the answer to that question. And look, I like Aaron Glenn and think that he's a good football coach, but his first year did not go well.
Right.
He's got to show something this year in order to stick, I think. So, there are some. I mean, coach and quarterback are the 2 biggest spots on the whole team, and the Jets have major questions of both. So, it could be a little. But I mean, I do think they've built out a good roster. I think it was smart to keep Breece Hall. Garrett Wilson, I still believe is going to be special. Look, when I was at the Combine in February, talking to teams about quarterbacks, a lot of people thought Geno Smith's tape from last year wasn't bad and that the offense that Chip Kelly built around him was the problem. So he was playing well in Seattle prior to last year. He's not super old. It's conceivable that you'll get something out of him that's better than what the Raiders got out of him last year. If, again, these people I was talking to turn out to be correct, and he does have weapons. So it could be fun. I can see where Bart's optimism might come from, but until you have the guy, even if you find your Jaxson Dart, that you don't even know if he's the guy, but at least you're excited about him.
Yeah.
Last year Justin Fields, a complete catastrophe from the get-go.
Yes, it was.
So you got to have something to rally around, and I think the Jets are probably still a couple years from that.
Yeah, and with Geno, I think we know how he is when the offensive line isn't good. I know no one likes to get hit, but he really doesn't like to get hit. Like, he'd rather just spike the ball than take a hit. And I think that was a big part of the problem there. But when you see his numbers in Seattle, when he had some protection, that, maybe he could still have that in him. And, again, all remains to be seen. But, with all those draft picks that they have, if Joe Burrow isn't happy in Cincinnati, I had that dream for about 30 seconds.
Dream big. Sure. Yeah.
That's all I got, honestly, because really, what else is there? The Matthew Stafford story to me, and how he went from rags to riches, and amazingly how Detroit actually also benefited from that. I mean, when do you ever see that? The Lions became functional, even though they gave up an MVP quarterback. But the fact that that deal was made, and yet both franchises really benefited from it, I'm just looking around saying you don't always have to draft your guy. Again, Seattle, great example. Won a Super Bowl with who? Sam Darnold. It is possible to do another way, and I feel like with the Jets, that's going to have to be it. How do they find that guy that they make a trade for? They have all these picks.
Worth noting that the Rams team that won the Super Bowl in Stafford's first year had been to the Super Bowl 3 years prior to that and was a playoff team the year before. I just feel like, look, dream big. Why not? At some point it'll happen. It happens for everyone. This is the story of the New York Knicks. But, I think it's weird because, right, like they've got to win some games because Aaron Glenn has to establish like that there's a winning culture here, or at least the germ of it.
Absolutely.
But you almost don't want to win too many games if you're looking at next year's quarterback. So that's tricky. So that's where having 3 first-round picks really helps, because you can move around in that round, or to your point, you can trade for a disgruntled veteran somewhere if that's available. And if you've proven that you have the roster, Matthew Stafford wanted to go to L.A. because he felt like he was the missing piece there, and it proved out to be the case. So build that out and make yourself an appealing destination. And then and see what's available to you.
Well, that's what Rodgers was supposed to be, let's be honest, right? Like, that's really what that was supposed to be. It just only lasted about 3 plays.
I do remember that.
And then that was certainly the end of that. Well, I know you covered baseball long enough. Do you still tune into Home Run Derby and All-Star games and stuff like that? Or are you getting like me where the All-Star games are kind of played out?
I like the baseball All-Star game still. We'll probably have the Home Run Derby on tonight because my boys are home from college and they like it. My main connection to baseball now is my fantasy team. So this is the worst part of the year. There's 4 days where there's no games. So I don't know. I don't love the All-Star break, but I do like the game. I think it's, of the All-Star games, it's the most true to the real game.
Yes.
Still. Of any, by far. And I think that makes it a lot of fun to watch. Some pitching tends to dominate, but that never bothered me. I kind of like that. So, we'll have it on for sure. It's, for sure.
Yeah. Well, enjoy it. And thanks so much for giving me a few minutes here. And good luck on your
Anytime,
tour.
Alan.
Be good to catch up with you then. Take care.
Appreciate it. Thanks.
Dan Graziano, he's one of the best we have. He's a wealth of information, but also I love, one of the things that, getting away from being a sports writer where you go and you cover stuff, and it is fun sometimes to just tell your newspaper, or at least for Dan, he tells ESPN, all right, I'm going to go visit these training camps, and I'm going to spend a couple of days at these different places, and you just kind of hang around a team and you get to know the league, and it is such a great experience to be able to do stuff like that, because it's the reason why you then become somebody who's a fountain of information. You can do those things. And you also learn about what teams think about other teams. So it's not necessarily like when he goes to LA and he does the Chargers, then he'll do the Rams, and then he's in Southern California. We all know the Giants are also, the Cowboys are there. So you go down and you see them. You're also finding out what they think of other teams and they say about other teams. So it's great. Just fill the notebook. Graz does it every year. It's a lot of fun, especially when he's in the midst of it and he's bouncing around. So he's going to start doing that in a couple of weeks, just as training camps begin in a couple of weeks. That's what's coming up. But what happened over the weekend that we haven't talked about yet that you might have missed? That's, of course, the weekend wrap-up, and that is coming up next. Hahn Solo on Don Hahn Rosenberg, ESPN New York. Now let's take a look at the traffic with Brandy Scott.
Thanks so much, guys. Not so great on the LIE westbound in Queens. Right after Springfield Boulevard, crash in the right lane involving a car and a tractor trailer. You're bumper to bumper there and backed up into Nassau County. Solid ride from Lakeville Road. Slow go on the Belt westbound, heading over to the Verrazano in Brooklyn from Flatbush Avenue. After that, heading into Staten Island. Stick with the upper deck if you can. Broken down car on the lower level, taking out the center lane. Inbound Georgia, about 20 to 30 for both the upper and lower decks using 89. 95 and 46. Definitely better from the Route 4 approach. Best of it's the outbound George Westside Highway and Henry Hudson. Outbound Lincoln and Holland tunnels are only about 10 to 15 minutes each. This report is sponsored by Mothers Against Drunk Driving. For victims of drunk and drug driving, your grief is unique, but you're not alone. You always have a place at MAD. Visit mad.org. I'm Brandy Scott on 880 ESPN New York.
All right, we'll get back to your calls at 800-919-3776. We talk some Giants. You got anything that reactions to what Dan Graziano said? He had a lot of interesting stuff to say, especially on the front of Jaxson Dart and that whole story and what we're going to be watching as we go into the season, but also on the Yankees and whether or not we think they are the next team in New York to contend for a title or win a title. Because the Knicks ended a 15-year drought, not 53 years just for them, but 15 years of the four major sports winning a championship. The last team was the Giants. Every year we're always like, well, you got to think that at some point, you know, the Yankees, because they're in it every year. And my question is just simply like, do you really trust them as a team? Do you think they can? And as I mentioned earlier, we're assuming Judge is coming back, but what version of Judge are you going to get? How late does he show up? And how much, when you get into October, are you going to say, wow, he missed a ton of time and that injury, you know, having a stress fracture in your rib for a baseball player, you know, that's going to affect you in some way. Or are you going to, once again, say, if he doesn't come through, blame him once again? But over the weekend, a couple of other stories that we were following. One of them, man, this in NBA circles, everybody was talking about. All the group chats had something about it. And you know what I'm talking about. I got to set this up better. I did not know we had a sponsor for this. Anthony, we do?
Of course.
That is fantastic. Yes, we do.
So weekend recap.
It is time for your weekend recap. Brought to you by Neutral. Of course it's brought to you by Neutral. What am I thinking?
The Heat needed to be a little more neutral.
Yeah, well, maybe not. Maybe it was just time to not be neutral. Maybe it was time to just let all the feelings out. So the NBA Summer League is going on in Vegas, and so you'll get a confluence of players who will use any excuse to go to Vegas, especially on the team's dime. Second of all, it's you come in, you represent your team, you go to some games, watch the young guys play, hang out in Vegas, and get some workouts in. And what we saw on Friday was two former teammates crossing paths. Tyler Hero, as you know, was traded to Milwaukee in the deal for Giannis Antetokounmpo. Bam Adebayo now is teammates with Giannis. So now Bam and Hero are no longer teammates. And I guess Tyler Hero, he's a little quirky, this guy. I have a great respect for Bam. I think Bam is a competitor. I think he plays hard. I think he represents the whole Heat culture thing to the right way. And we all know he had that insane game, 80 points, that he scored against the Wizards, which was weird, but he did it. So as the story goes, why did the two of them have a confrontation on a practice court at Resorts World Casino in Vegas in front of an AAU team Friday morning? That's what went down. It happened in front of an AAU team, and it's so bizarre. But what it started with, if you're not surprised, please join the 21st century. Hero responding to a DM from a fan that was critical of him and his play. And Hero couldn't resist and started being critical of Adebayo. Now, why would you do that? Why would you even bother responding to anybody, especially somebody you don't know, and you want to fire back? And the line that he used that really kind of set things off. Oh, let me also add that once he responded to this fan, what did you think the fan did? Screenshotted it, a DM, which is supposed to be a private conversation, made it public. So, of course, Bam saw it. And Bam's a guy that when Hero and Adebayo was doing like an interview together in Miami during the past season, I think Hero asked Bam, like, hey, of all the guys on the team, who would you trust most to have your back in a fight? And Bam just said, you, because, we've been teammates for a long time, so there's that built-in trust. So it's coincidence that the two of them would get into a fight. I don't know if it was a fight more than just a punch thrown, because Bam connected with Hero's right eye and clocked him pretty good. But he had reason to do this. First of all, Hero talks a lot of trash. People don't know this. He's kind of this skinny white guy. He's very talented, but he's got this attitude of cockiness about him. And guys that say, like, when you scrimmage with him, he's, he'll rile you up. He'll talk some trash. He likes it. It gets him fired up. He wants to see you get fired up. He's just one of those guys. And so Bam knows, like, he's like that. And the DM thing that he came to his, that was presented to him was basically criticizing his defense, or at least how often he plays defense. Because of all the criticisms that Hero was facing from this guy who sent him DMs, Hero responded saying, you should get paid $60 million to be a top-tier defender on some nights. And for Adebayo, that's his calling card, really. I know he had a big scoring performance that we all talk about, but he's really a A-plus defender, tough physical player, not really a great offensive talent. He also, made fun of him. I think he called out, one of the analytics about his mid-range. That's like stupid stuff. Again, I go back to why. It's the old don't press send Herm Edwards thing. Don't press send. What are you doing? But he had to. He couldn't resist. So he did. And now, of course, it's presented to Bam. And now all this private trash talking you were doing with a stranger goes to Bam. And Bam's like, oh, really? This is what you really think about me? I thought we were boys. And he handled it like men. He let him know. And he clocked him. And so, to Hero's credit, he just let it go. Didn't want to talk about it. Didn't make a big deal about it, whatever it is. But it's a very strange thing. It also shows you something about the NBA, about pro sports. The Lindor Soto thing is a great example here. We talk so much about how everybody's got to be best friends and everybody has to get along. You don't have to get along, but there has to be a mutual respect. That's all it is. It's an understanding and a respect. Everybody has a place. A locker room in the pros is like anything else. Everybody understands where they are, what's your place, what's your role, all that. And when that's established, you can have tranquility. But when there's this kind of argument over who should be who, that always starts to appear. It starts to show itself. And whether it's when you're still teammates, that can come out. And I think with the Mets, they ran into that. But I think in the case of the Heat, Bam found out what Tyler Hero really thought of him once he left. Maybe Hero felt the way because Bam, was glad to move on from him, or maybe the Heat were glad to move on from him. So, of course, he's going to feel a way. Oh, you trading me? I mean, they traded you for Giannis. Let's not get carried away.
It's not nobody.
Yeah, that's not nobody. But still, and they sent you home, too. You're from Wisconsin. But it's just, to me, it does show you, though, that within teammates and teams, there are always underlying egos that fight, and there's always going to be that battle of alphas that goes on.
Well, you're friends until you don't have to be?
That too.
Is that kind of...
But guys, honestly, do we need to go into DMs against strangers saying stuff about guys who you were just running with?
Now, KD didn't do it in DMs, but he kind of, I don't want to say he started it, but when you talk about prominent NBA figures clapping back at people on social media, KD is very much well known for it. Now, anybody growing up is going to see somebody else like KD doing it, go, I could do that too. And especially guys that are overconfident. Look at Cam Schlittler. He has like bulletin board material from every Red Sox fan that says he hates his guts.
That's what he uses, though, for fire. That's much different. See, to me, KD going after fans, that's him. First of all, I think KD just loves the back and forth.
He lives off of that. That's what drives him.
That's what I'm saying. Like, he likes that stuff, and he has fun with it, and I think he thinks it's like, I know this guy is going to get a kick out of this, so I'm going to respond to him and go back and forth and have it out. Because he knows, for that fan, I just made his day. Even if it's hate, it's still something like part of KD, I think, just lives off of like, I'm making this dude's day right now. Watch this. But this is different. Hero saying that about a teammate, like, it's one thing if you're protecting yourself or debating about yourself, but him bringing in Adebayo, like you're talking about my defense, how about the guy making $60 million and he plays defense once in a while? Yo, like, why would you drag him in on this? That's the part that I feel like Hero overstepped the line. And so are we all in agreement that as much as it's not right to assault someone, didn't Hero have it coming?
He had it coming, and he also has had his brush-ins. Last season with Amin Thompson, this season with KD, they got a back and forth. So he has this reputation of, getting under your skin, like you said. So
he does.
If
always the skinny guys.
Yeah.
Always the skinny guys. Now, should the NBA do anything about this?
They're probably going to investigate based on like what they find. I don't just find them like $50,000 and move on with it.
Whatever it is, right?
Yeah,
like the Draymond Jordan Poole thing. Which, oh, by the way, a result like sort of this residual thing that Udonis Haslem, who again wears Heat culture like a badge, represents it as well as anybody that ever played for the Heat. He and Draymond then get after it because Draymond reacted to this, saying how everybody, got mad at me about him and Poole when he said that was more of an internal thing. And he kind of took a shot, I guess, at the Heat culture stuff and brought up UD because UD was very critical of Draymond for doing it. And then UD stepped in almost like, have you read, it's too long for me to read right now, but
I read it.
What Haslem said to Draymond.
There's a lot going on there.
Yo, that's one of those where if you're Draymond, you go, okay, sir, thank you. Because I'm telling you, I've spent time with UD. I got to know him. He's as top shelf a human being as you'll meet. But he's also a guy that if you cross him, it's not a guy you want to cross.
Oh no,
no, he stands on business.
Like him, like James Johnson is another guy, like black belt MMA.
Yeah, he's another one that says when we meet, we're going to deal with this. You know what's coming the next time you see him. There's no wondering what's going to happen. You already know what's going to happen. So that came as like a residual of this confrontation. But it just shows you again, when it comes to teammates and all this stuff, we have this vision of everybody just loving each other and getting along. Not always true. And sometimes you don't find out until after the fact, which is why on the Mets side of things, the Mets are going to be forced into making a decision between Lindor and Soto sooner rather than later. And that is certainly something we can, get into coming up because there certainly is more to that story that we need to discuss. So there's that. There's also one more I don't have time for right now, but Conor McGregor and what happened this weekend is also something we need to get into. So there's a lot more to do here. Yes, 800-919-3776. But that was our weekend recap brought to you by Neutral. Keep it tasty with Neutral Vodka Seltzer, made with real vodka and real fruit juice. Enjoy responsibly. Your calls coming up, 800-919-3776. You love this drama in the NBA. McGregor of it all. And the Soto Lindor thing that I heard DiPietro talking about this morning with Dan that I also want to get into. 5 o'clock, Knicks anniversary. Do you know what happened a month ago today? If you're a Knicks fan, of course you do. Stay with us. Hahn, Rosenberg, ESPN New York. All right, one other thing that happened over the weekend to talk about here that was not part of our weekend recap was UFC and Conor McGregor's return to the octagon. First and foremost, before all that, Jake, did you see Sophie Cunningham?
Oh, no, I did not. I missed that.
You watched it, didn't you?
No, I saw the clips online. I saw it floating.
I thought you told me you watched the fight.
No. I just saw the 69-second clip of McGregor.
The McGregor part was short, but
she was a ring girl.
Yes.
She what? Oh,
Sophie Cunningham showed up.
Guys, give me like 30 minutes. I'll be back.
Jake's gonna go find that clip. Yeah, for some reason you're just gonna have that on repeat, aren't you? Yeah. So the WNBA star showed up, and as Dana White told the story, she was, because we know, first of all, swimsuit model, the whole thing. Like, she's really turned her career. I mean, not only as a basketball player, but she's modeled. She's done a lot of stuff. Not afraid to have people appreciate her looks. And she just was like, I guess she saw a ring girl holding up the card and just said in a group, like, I want to do that. And Dana White's like, okay, you're doing it. Like, it wasn't pre-planned. It wasn't set up. She just happened to just say, I'd like to do that.
Only in the UFC.
Right? And he's like, okay, grab a card. You're up. And so she went up, and the rest is history.
I must say, I just looked at it.
Yep.
I didn't miss much, I guess.
What?
And I'm a fan of most.
Now, why would you say that?
Didn't miss much.
Okay. You say so. I don't know. I mean, that takes some guts. But anyway, that was probably the highlight of the night when you consider that the fight that was supposed to be the glorified, the celebrated return of Conor McGregor lasted a minute. You said 63 seconds, right?
Yeah, about 69, I think. Was that
60,
official time? That's right.
This was not a glorious return. And Dana White talked about the expectations of this and how what was hyped up for so long did not really match, like I guess the end result, which is never good, especially for UFC. It's never good that the hype did not match the end result.
Listen, everybody who knows anything about the fight business, and it's been a big topic of discussion leading up to this fight. 5 years off in this sport is rough. And like you said, great card, unbelievable. I mean, the Paddy Pimblett thing right before, you just feel it all in the air. Here we go. I mean, I was expecting at least a one-round war, or, who knew what Conor was capable of as far as cardio or whatever else after a 5-year layoff. And there you go. I mean, we're assuming blown ACL. I'm no doctor, but that's what I figured when I saw it, and doctors think the same thing too.
Yeah, and that's pretty much what happened. He will get surgery on that knee. I guess he tried to kick against Max Holloway, and right there is when everyone assumes that the knee snapped, and you could see when the fight ended, he got pummeled. He had nothing left. And when the fight ended, he's limping. He limped right out of the building. You see, he didn't even go in the back. He went right to the car.
Yeah, he was not going to take any questions.
Well, would you?
No. He says he's going to fight again. But, of course, he hasn't even had the surgery yet. So he's got to see what the rehab looks like. But
yeah, he's 38 years old. He hasn't, and as we said, he hasn't fought in 5 years. He's done a lot of other things
he has.
He's wanted to do. But he wanted to get back, and does this frustrate you guys in the sense that we get this sometimes where you get this big card, this big name that's older and is trying to draw from his fame instead of, like, we love the come-up stuff, but after a while it just kind of gets tiresome when you see these guys who are past their prime and they're just trying to make money off their name, and how many people are suckered into it.
Well, it was actually just the whole thing, Alan, was disappointing because even Dana mentioned it. As cool as it was that Paddy Pimblett had the first-round submission, that was only a 53-second fight.
Yeah.
So your main and your co-main were under a round.
And didn't have any real brawls or any type of really good fights.
It really was over when it started. Like, Paddy got the guy down, submitted him pretty much instantly. Conor goes for a kick, and his leg gives out.
Yikes.
And those are your two fights. But you were right. Look, and even Dana said it. He hoped it was a one-round battle where at least Conor showed something because he figured that his cardio probably isn't where it was when he was, fighting 5 years ago.
Right.
So you didn't expect it to be a long fight anyway, but at least you get some haymakers from Conor, and you didn't even get that. You really didn't even get any punches. It was disappointing to say the least.
You got one kick and your body gave out on you. McGregor said something a while ago that I think when you see that scene, his quote was, "There's no hiding in the octagon." And you know what? How right was he? How prophetic was he about his own career? Like, you can't fake your way through a fight like that, not in the octagon. You can't walk in on reputation alone. Like, you can get away with that in a lot of team sports. You can kind of get away with hiding within it. But like that, to me, this sport, I think, with Serena with tennis, right? How she's trying to make a comeback. Doubles, okay. Singles, she did battle, right? At least she fought, but you could see that there was not enough. It's not about like the brand you are and all that stuff. If you're not prepared, if you haven't really put the time in, like I'm not saying, did he train for the fight? Of course he did. But like, if you haven't fought in 5 years, you can't just wake up and go, "Hey, I just want to fight. Let me get a couple of weeks to get ready and I'll be ready." No, it's not going to happen. That's what makes it so special to get to that level, to fight for a belt in boxing, UFC, whatever it is. That's the climb, the come up, all that stuff. Once you're out, it's so hard. That's what makes, what George Foreman did to me still is one of the most remarkable things we've ever seen in sports. Don't you think? Not only because of his age, but because of the fact that he had been gone for so long, he was able to come back and still beat prime boxers and still be a champion. That doesn't happen in anything else. I think it's almost impossible to do. So McGregor tried it. It does feel like a bit of a money grab. Not a bit of one. I think it is one. And the next time, if he is going to fight one more time, which he says he wants to come back, if he does, you falling for the banana tailpipe?
Well, are you going to let him main event again? That's the question.
But doesn't his name draw main event?
It can't not, right?
Right, because it's too big a name to not. Like, you can make it. You can't even make it like a. You can't even make it a lead up.
No, he can't be a co-main either.
No, he's got to be on the marquee, but it's not on the marquee because it's going to be a great fight. He's on the marquee because of who he is, and he's got a big fan base. But are you going to be fooled again? I'm telling you, I did not even think about this fight until Friday. And then after that, I'm like, well, let's see how it goes. Because I can't stand these guys that leave it, try to become celebrities, realize the money isn't there anymore. How do I make my money? Oh, go back to the well. And I feel like they sucker fans. And that's kind of what this feels like. And if I'm Dana White, you can hear it in his voice. He's kind of embarrassed. He's like, I don't want us to be about this. But they were. So that's another thing that happened over the weekend. But you know what today is?
What's that?
If you're a Knicks fan, it's a special day. And it's a reason to discuss the Knicks, where they are right now, and what's next for them. And we'll do that next. Hahn, Rosenberg, ESPN New York. Now let's take a look at the traffic with Brandy Scott.
Thanks, guys. We're going to start off in Westchester County. Rough ride on 287 eastbound, right before the Sprainbrook and Elmsford. Emergency roadwork taking out 2 lanes. That is you crawling heading across the Tappan Zee Bridge from the Rockland side. Inbound George, about 20 to 30 for both the upper and lower decks using 8095. Definitely better from the 4 and 46 approaches. Slowdowns on the West Side Highway northbound, heading over to the outbound George. Broken down SUV in the left lane on that ramp, backing you up into the 90s. Outbound Lincoln and Holland tunnels, about 20 to 30 minutes each. Jammed on 78 westbound in Jersey, right before exit 43 for Diamond Hill Road in Berkeley Heights. Car fire blocking 2 lanes. This report is sponsored by Mothers Against Drunk Driving. For victims of drunk and drug driving, your grief is unique, but you're not alone. You always have a place at MAD. Visit mad.org. I'm Brandy Scott on 880 ESPN New York.
.502 in the greatest city in the world. Han Solo with you today. Peter will be back tomorrow. Don's on vacation this week. So that's what we're going through right now. You know, it's summer book time, so that's what we do. But we're together today. The first 2 hours were a lot of fun. We got more calls to get to at 800-919-3776. And as we started the show, I'll just repeat it for those who might be just joining us now. Today is an anniversary of sorts. If you're a Knicks fan, you know what I'm talking about. Because June 13th will be the new date that lives forever in your mind. Because that, of course, a month ago on this day, was the day the Knicks won Game 5 in San Antonio. And won their first NBA championship.
Fox, 5 seconds remaining. Fox to Wemby. Wemby tries a 3, puts it up, off the mark. Anunoby the rebound. It's over. It's over. Knicks fans, this is not a dream. Your long, long wait has ended. Go ahead and cry. After 53 years, the Knicks are finally NBA champions once again.
I love that he said, go ahead and cry, as if you had any other choice. I think I've told everybody the story. I've mentioned it a few times, but I love, because it was a month ago. Like, it's amazing that a month has already passed since then because it still feels so fresh, like in your memory. And I've told the story. We were on the air till 2:30 a.m. with our postgame show on MSG, and we were in New York. We were not in San Antonio for this. And so we had a great, after the show ended, we, as a show unit, not just the talent on air, which was Steve Novak, Wally Zerbiak, Bill Pito, but also everybody, behind the scenes, camera people, lighting, audio, all the different producers that do all the graphics producers and everything else, our producer, directors, we all kind of gathered outside the studio in a kitchen area. And we had, Wally brought a bottle of champagne. I'm glad he did. It was a smart thing to do. He anticipated it. No jinx. We just had a feeling. Even though the Knicks were down 15 in the third quarter, down 7 going into the fourth quarter, there was like, you know what, we're bringing champagne because if they win this thing tonight, we're going to celebrate. It was a Saturday night. And so we popped the bottle and we make some toasts. And one of the toasts I made, one of the things I thought to say was, boy, Al Troutwig would have loved to have been part of this. And I wanted to remember him in that moment because, we'd been through so much together and seen a lot of bad basketball together that we've had to get through. So it was, there's just something about this. And it's this moment we all kind of shared. Then we went out into the city, and the city got wild, as we know, trying to find places to celebrate. It got a little crazy. And I didn't get home till it was 5 something. And, didn't really, I wanted to sleep, couldn't sleep. You're just too wired. And eventually ended up in the pool, floating by myself, because everybody else was asleep. And that's when I felt it and lost it, in that moment. When it all got quiet, like just realizing, like, man, that happened. So if you've got a story like that, like when it hit you, because I started to believe they're really going to do this when they won Game 2. And Mikal Bridges we did a walk-off interview with Mikal Bridges on our network, on MSG. And man, if you ever saw this interview, you haven't seen it yet, you got to look it up. Because his eyes were like so intense. They had stolen another game. They took Game 2. And he just had this look on his eyes like, going back to the Garden and, we're up 2-0. And he's just like, got to get better. Like he was just so locked in. And I'm thinking, if that dude's as locked in as that, they're not losing this thing. Like they're winning this thing. I believed it for the first, I truly believed. Like you always think it, they sweep the Cavs and they're going into the finals for the first time since 99. There's a part of me that's going, I think they can do this. But I had a healthy respect for the Spurs. I know some guys over there on the coaching staff, and I'd been watching them. And if anybody sees me on Get Up on ESPN in the mornings through the end of the NBA season and into the playoffs, I had said all along, while those were trying to doubt the young Spurs team as a team that could make a run, that could take out the Thunder, I kept warning you, no, that team, they're different. Those young kids, they don't know what they don't know. And they're different. And I had a feeling they could be there. So I had a healthy respect for them. So I thought, I think they can do this. But after Game 2, in my head, remember driving home after that game going, I think they're going to do this. Like, I really think this is going to happen. And I'd always wondered, what's it going to be like when they win it? And I never thought to myself, like, what would I think about? How would I feel? Because you're in the moment. I mean, they win that thing. We're on the air in 5 seconds, and I'm trying to think of all the things I got to process while also saying to myself, wait, this really happened. There's no more series to play. There's no more games to play. Like, this is it. It's done. It really happened. And it wasn't until just floating in the pool by myself, it was dead quiet. And I might have had a cocktail in my hand. And I just kind of started to feel it. Like emotionally, just it overtook me because I wasn't no longer thinking about the job. I was thinking about memories. And, whether it was, Melo getting blocked by Hibbert at the rim, Melo trying to dunk in that moment to force the Knicks to come back in that series against the Pay. What a heartbreak that was. Brunson breaking his, what was it, the wrist or the elbow, whatever it was. He hurt himself Game 7. Everybody was hurt in Game 7 2 years ago. That stupid bounce, Halliburton. Just the Spurs lost in 99. Just Patrick couldn't play. And then Patrick telling me, you remember we had him on, and Patrick told the story about how he cried in the bus when he knew, like, I can't help these guys. And of course, Starks Game 7. I love John Starks. And him having this Game 6 of his life on my birthday in 94, but that one shot that was for the moment got tipped by Akeem Olajuwon, the force of Game 7. That should have been John's moment, that shot. He was red hot in that game. And that I remember that. I'll never forget it. It's my birthday. And I saw Game 7 for this year was scheduled to be on my birthday. I'm like, please, God, not again. But it didn't happen. So as I'm going through all these memories, it's like it just kind of like it hits you as a fan because you live through so many ups and downs and so many frustrations and so many years of, God, when is this ever going to happen? And feeling how far away they felt just 6 years ago when Leon Rose first took over. And, I remember interviewing Leon Rose. And guys, do we have it, by the way? Because I remember, yeah, I see it, yeah. So 2022, I remember, Leon Rose doesn't talk a lot in the media. And just side note, I did ask Leon to join me today, but he's not he doesn't like doing media. And so he politely declined. And he did do the Roommates podcast with Brunson and Hart, but it's Brunson and Hart. You know what I mean? It's a little different than coming on here on ESPN New York. And so Leon doesn't do a lot of interviews. This was one he did with us on MSG. And we were talking about how do you get to the point where you can be a champion. This is as they were targeting Jalen Brunson, that they were trying to rebuild the franchise. And Rose laid out what the plan was. Now, listen, this is 4 years ago. He said this, and you tell me as you listen, did his plan come to fruition?
Well, let's talk about the big fish you did get in Jalen Brunson, as you mentioned. And yes, you've known him his whole life, but you've known a lot of players for a long time. But besides knowing him and what he's about, what is it specifically about him that fits here, that fits this team and fits playing here in New York?
It's his DNA. His DNA, he has a winning DNA. And when I say, you look at his history, state champions in high school, 2 national championships in college. Last year, with and without Luka Doncic, leads the Dallas Mavericks to the Western Conference Finals. The basketball, and he's improved every year because of who he is, what he's about. It's the character, it's the work ethic, it's the professionalism. And we brought him here, and we are so fortunate because he fills, one of the biggest voids that we had, the starting point guard. That is such an important role to our team, to every team really, but to our team, we needed that person that was going to stabilize us, and he's also someone we believe is going to make everyone around him better. The way he plays, his unselfishness, his basketball IQ, his leadership, all of those things are, the reasons why. And he fits perfectly in Tibbs' system. And Tibbs has known him. It's going to be a seamless transition for him into the system.
Isn't it amazing? You hear that stuff now, you're like, oh yeah, that's Jalen. You didn't know that then. Jalen Brunson was a backup point guard on the Dallas Mavericks when they acquired him. Now, I covered the Western Conference playoffs for ESPN Radio back then, and so I saw him and what he did against Utah. I saw him in those series to the Western Conference Finals they went, and I saw Brunson, and the more I watched him, I'm like, yo, this guy's got a bag. Like he can play. But nobody saw this. But Leon did. Everything he said there, before anything happened, before he started scoring 30 a game, before he started setting records with the Knicks, before he was leading them to winning playoff series for the first time. Everything was for the first time with Jalen Brunson. Think about that. How many times have we said with Brunson, for the first time since? Because that's what he did ever since he got here. And that was all Leon Rose, just knowing the player and knowing what he brought, believing in it. And that says something. But the selflessness thing, there's a joke going around that did the Knicks break the Eastern Conference? Because look at the Boston Celtics do a crazy trade. Giannis gets traded. The Heat throw it all in to get Giannis. But now they don't really have much of a roster, but they have Giannis. And it's like all the different things that you're seeing. I mean, what's Detroit doing? And that's one thing. But how about, did Brunson change the NBA? Not just the selflessness, not just the importance of character, the importance of a guy who can be a leader that people rally around, having, of course, your consiglieres with you, guys you play with in college, the built-in chemistry without having to put players together who really don't know each other well, and seeing, can we mesh this, right? Because you don't just throw stars together and it's all going to work because they're stars. But there's a lot of what the Knicks did with Brunson as a centerpiece that has kind of changed the way you look at how do you build the championship team. But the other thing he did that everybody's talking about now, of course, is him leaving the $115 million on the table. When it was time for him to get his first contract off of his $100 million contract that he got back in 2022, he left money on the table, and that allowed the Knicks to continue to build, to get OG Anunoby, to get Mikal Bridges, to get Karl-Anthony Towns, to add big salaries like that, because he didn't take all the money that he could have at the time. Why did Boston break up Tatum and Brown? Because both guys took every freaking penny. And they were worth it, and they were due it. So nobody's going to hold a grudge against them saying, well, they were being selfish. No. They were allotted that. That was their max. They earned it, and they took it. But because of it, the Celtics finally, with a new ownership, said we can't afford 2 guys making $70 million a year and build a championship team, so we had to break them up. So that's what happened. And now Victor Wembanyama, who wouldn't acknowledge Brunson after the NBA Finals was over, did sort of hat tip Jalen Brunson when it was time for him to get paid this offseason. Did you see what he did? He signed a 5-year, or he's agreeing to a 5-year, $252 million extension. He left $50 million on the table. His Supermax, which he was going to be eligible for, was $300 million. He could have easily been a $300 million player for a guy who's, 22 years old? And he would have gotten every penny, and the Spurs would have given it to him because he's well worth it, as we know. But his thinking is, I don't want to strap my franchise of the ability to pay into the tax, not the second apron, of course, but into the tax to build a team around me. He knows he's got Stephon Castle and Dylan Harper on his team, who are both young players who are also going to be due extensions in the near future. Look at Oklahoma City. They've already got to start making tough decisions on players who are due contracts, because for them, once again, how do you keep my team together? I'm drafting well. These guys are going to be due money. They're going to be due max contracts. I can't give everybody a max. So for Wemby, he's saying, I'm going to leave some money on the table just so we don't have to worry about breaking up a core of young players. Harper's 20. Castle's 21. Wemby's 22. These guys should be teammates for at least 5 to 10 years as a core of a team that should win multiple titles. So Wembanyama took a page out of Jalen Brunson's book. Now, fans want this. You love seeing the unselfishness because we look at it as, come on, what's $50 million when you're still getting $250? But we know in the NBA, 250 is not really 250 because you're paying a lot of different ways and a lot of different people, and you end up not with as much as you thought. That's a reality that nobody people like us don't want to, we can't relate to that. But it is true. Taxes, paying, there's this whole thing that when you're a player, it's a celebrity tax. If you play in certain markets, that state can tax you for playing in that market. Doesn't make sense, but it's what they do. So you're not really getting all that $252 million in the bank. Anyways, but he's giving back because he doesn't want to see his team get broken up like the Celtics did and like what's going to happen to Oklahoma City Thunder. But in doing so, he acknowledged something that Brunson did. Owners want this. They hate the second apron. They don't want to be in it. So they're now looking at their players, putting the pressure on them to give back. So it's great. But if you're the Players Association, this is not what you wanted. So not only does the second apron now become something that is restrictive on how much you can build a championship team and how you have to break up a roster that might be championship caliber. So it's already going to ruin that. But now it's going to put pressure on star players who have earned a max or a super max, and fans are going to be like, why do you got to take all that money? Wemby left money on the table. Brunson left money on the table. Why aren't you doing that for our team? Why are you being selfish? And players who have earned the right to have every penny of the $300 million or the $70 million a year that's coming in this league, every right to take it all. They're going to feel pressure to not take it all. And that's not fair because it is, once again, it's up to the owners to decide whether they want to spend it or not. I still think they have to change the rule when it comes to if I draft well, why are those players counting against the second apron? Why do I have to pay triple the tax on a player that I drafted who earned a supermax? I drafted well. It's the way the system's supposed to work. I didn't go out into free agency and grab a player and then pay him a ton of money and got greedy. I drafted and developed a player into a supermax player, and I still got to pay triple tax on that. That's something I think needs to be revisited. You should be rewarded for drafting well. And it's also why we're going to see this run of teams where it's every year we have a different champion. It's 8 years in a row now. The last repeat champion were the Golden State Warriors. Now, they were already a great team, but they added Kevin Durant because of a loophole, because there was a new broadcasting deal. The Warriors had some players, especially Steph Curry, still wasn't on a massive deal yet, and they ended up having enough money in this surplus that they got from the new broadcast deal where they could afford to give Kevin Durant a contract as a free agent. And Durant went there. And they became a team that won 73 games. They became a team that just nobody could beat. For 3 years, they went to the finals. They won 2 of them. You're not going to see that again. Not with this system. So the giving back by players thing, it's a real thing now. And not only does Brunson do it, now that Wemby does it set a precedence now that as a fan, will you hold it against a player if he doesn't, for his team, take a little less to leave a little more so you could build a champion? How much is too much? 800-919-3776 is the number. So it's the anniversary of that, of the Knicks championship. and celebrating something that we haven't been able to celebrate for 3 years, and something that I got to be honest with you, there was a time where I thought, I don't know if I'm ever going to see it. I remember saying to Don and Peter earlier in the run that my worry is that, like, I might never, like, if they don't win this year, I definitely was going to go into this offseason saying to myself, I don't think I'm ever going to see it. So I was blessed to be able to see it. I was blessed to be that close to it, to be on the court after Game 4, which is one of the most amazing atmospheres I've ever experienced in my life. And then, of course, float 4 of the parade, being on a float down the Canyon of Heroes, fly on the wall, just watching it. Man, that was, again, surreal. All of it just a month ago. Let's get to your calls. 800-919-3776. Frank's in Fairfield. Frank, you were there for Game 5. That must have been amazing.
Absolutely, yeah. My original plan was to go for Game 2. Nobody would work for me that Saturday, so I settled for Game 5, and we all know what happened.
So you weren't that upset that they lost Game 3?
No. I actually bought the ticket after they went up in Game 2-0, because with the officiating, I didn't see that game going, letting them get a sweep either way. So I even bought it before Game 3, just knowing that. And again, worst case scenario, they didn't have it. I mean, I'm not out anything, but
who cares? Right.
Yeah, best decision I ever made.
Tremendous. Yeah. Well, just quickly, what was the atmosphere like for you in that building? I heard it was almost 50-50 Knicks fans.
Easily. I mean, everybody that told me when I got home said we couldn't tell on TV. I said easily 50% Knicks fans. Walking into the stadium, just as many Knicks jerseys. Get online for concessions, just as many Knicks jerseys. The chants in the concourse. There were 2 Spurs fans next to me and said, "Oh, yeah, we got the home court advantage." I said, "Take a look around. This is not a home crowd. Like, it could be. You can call it a home game all you like, and we made sure the first quarter too. Anytime they cheered, we booed. Anytime they booed, you got to let them know you're in the house, and this is not going to be that type of atmosphere, this game." And, you know, we all know what happened. But, I mean, it was just fantastic. Like you said it yourself, I didn't realize till that week, but I had basically just, you know, assumed that I was never going to see a Knicks championship in my lifetime. I had basically just accepted that. Mm-hmm. And literally after the horn, 2 or 3 straight minutes, just standing there with my hands on my head going, oh my God, for 3 complete shock at what I just witnessed. Like you said, it took hours to sink in. Yeah. I woke up at 4:30 that morning because I was so excited for the game. I did not go to bed till 11:30 Sunday night.
Wow.
Completely wired. I was up for 43 hours, didn't have so much as a soda or a cup of coffee. Just could not turn it off.
Just pure adrenaline.
I flew out the next morning and just finally start, I guess maybe on the plane. Like you said, when did it finally soak in? Maybe on the plane ride when I had a second to think and, sitting still for a little while.
Right.
But, yeah, it was amazing.
That's awesome, Frank.
As you know.
Yeah, man. Thanks for sharing that. That's awesome. It's one of the most remarkable parts as we tell the story. I think Ben Stiller is going to do, his documentary is going to be unreal. But I do think one of the most compelling parts of this run was what he just talked about, the road arena takeovers. You got to name me another team in pro sports that did that the way Knicks fans did that. I didn't think it would happen in the finals. I thought it was too far away. I was wrong. Isaac in White Plains. Isaac.
Yeah, thanks. I would say that this moment is going to be one of those moments that I know sometimes we say it with tragedy, like, where were you when this happened? I think with a chip, when we tell that story, where were you when you saw the win? I think that's going to transcend for years to come. I was a disbelief even after the buzzer rang. Like, I thought, okay, how are they going to steal this from us? Because throughout the years, I mean, I was there in '94 seeing Starks put up brick after brick. I saw Patrick Ewing miss the layup and thinking, this is the year. And every year it was taken from us. Indiana, when I remember I was watching at a bar and I was like, oh my God, we're going to win this. And then we lose the game. And then as this first 2 games, and we won those first 2 games, I remember dropping to my knees and thinking to myself, this is really going to happen. Are they really going to pull this off? And then we lost Game 3. And I thought, here it goes. And then when we were down big in Game 4, I said, "Oh, the good old Knicks. Here
I
we
was
go."
in such
Just
a bad
like at the
mood
beginning
at
of the
halftime.
season.
You know what,
We get
Isaac?
Jeff Hornacek as a coach.
Isaac, at halftime
we get Jeff
of
Hornacek
Game
as a coach, and we're like, oh my God, Jeff Hornacek is going to lead us to the promised land. We get this coach, we're going to win this year, and then Game 4 happens, and you're like, halftime, this is it. We're losing it. The other shoe's going to drop, and then we pulled it off, and then even after that, still in disbelief in Game 5, where you're like, I was watching, I was like quiet. There was like so many people around me screaming, yelling, and I was like in a sunken place, and everything was quiet, and I'm locked in watching, and I'm thinking, where are we going to lose this? Where are we going to lose this? And when the buzzer sounds, I sink my head into my hands, and I'm like breaking in tears and thinking to myself, we actually did this?
It's over.
And till this moment, I think I'm still at disbelief. But thanks and I'll just listen to you.
All good stuff. All good stuff, Isaac. That's what it's about. And that's why I just said a month later, it's like everybody said, it's been a month already? Like it's been a month already. But yeah, it's been a month already. And as I mentioned, all right, so the Knicks put an end not only to their 53-year drought, but a 15-year drought of the 4 major sports in New York. Right? The football giants, that was the last of the 4 major, of the NHL, NBA, NFL, and Major League Baseball. The last championship we had here of those 4 majors was the Giants' last Super Bowl, 15 years. So with thinking of it, I was saying, like, well, who's next? So who would you say is the team that, okay, the Knicks ended that, but who else can you see now piggybacking off this and making it sort of like, all right, be a championship city once again? Don't know if we have a team right now. Do you? We'll get back to your calls coming up next. Hahn, Rosenberg, ESPN New York. Now let's take a look at the traffic with Brandy Scott.
Thanks so much, guys. A bit of a messy ride in Jersey. First on the Turnpike northbound, right after 46 in Richfield Park. Crash in the right lane. That is you jammed heading over to Route 80 from the Vince Lombardi rest area. No relief on 78 westbound, right before exit 43 for Diamond Hill Road in Berkeley Heights. Car fire being worked on. Only the shoulder is squeezing by. Traffic is at a standstill there in both the express and locals from right after the Parkway. Inbound Georgia, about 20 to 30 for both the upper and lower decks using 8095. West Side Highway northbound, still jammed heading over to the outbound George. Picking up this broken down SUV on the ramp. Left lane is out. You're solid there from the 90s. Outbound Lincoln and Holland Tunnel's not too bad, about 10 to 15 minutes each. This report is sponsored by the New York City Department of Transportation. Speeding ruins lives. Drivers, watch out for pedestrians and cyclists and slow your turns to less than 5 miles an hour. I'm Brandy Scott on 880 ESPN New York.
I got a nice text from Ben Rice's dad, Dan. They're all like, they had them. Think about it. The home run derby tonight at like 8 o'clock. They got to the stadium. It was like 2 o'clock. They're there all day. There's a lot going on. So I just said, hey, when Ben wins tonight, come on tomorrow. So I'll give you a reason to watch. And if you're saying home run derby, that'll be fun. You know, we're going to be all the old men going, where the hell is the home run derby? It's not on ESPN. Where else do we go? NBC? It's not there either. Where else would we go? It's on Netflix, everybody. Yeah, note the start time, 8 o'clock. And we'll have it here, too, by the way, on ESPN New York, so you can listen to it live on the radio if you'd like. After me, we'll have some ESPN radio content and then leading you into the home run derby. And again, Ben Rice is in it, and that's awesome. Before I get back to your Knicks calls, we got tons of them. I want to get to it. Wanted to just get you all caught up on all that stuff. So that's really the big thing going on tonight. All-Star game is tomorrow, and then the All-Star break comes to an end. And busy week, so Don's off this week. Peter will be back tomorrow. And we know Fanatics Fest going on here in New York. That's coming up this week as well. So a lot of big stuff happening there. So this show is definitely one you want to stay connected to because, you know, Fanatics Fest is as a partner, as a friend, is, something we've been part of for the last couple of years. So keep it right here for everything you need to know about that. Big doings here in New York, but also on these calls, 800-919-3776. Let's go to Mike in the Bronx. Mike, you're up next. What's up, Mike?
Hey, Alan. Great to hear all these Nick reflections. Mine was get on the top of the 4 train at Woodlawn with my 2 boys, 11 and 8 years old, 5:15. Get down to City Hall, 6:15.
Oh, yeah.
Get out on a long line at Church and Reed's. Around 7:30, they say, no more people. We're like, oh, man. So there's thousands of people on Church Street, right parallel to Broadway, just looking for a place to go. Everyone finds a spot to stand, and we're right behind St. Paul's Church, and we could see like a 20-yard stretch of Broadway. Mm-hmm. And some nice New Yorkers helped the boys up on a big planter thing with flowers, so they had a higher vantage point. And my 8-year-old, he shouted out, "I see the trophy! I see the trophy!" Cat was holding it up, and that was it right there.
It's amazing, the reverse perspective that I had was every time. I say this to everybody. So you go once you make the turn and you're down Broadway. Now you're in that quote unquote Canyon of Heroes. It's amazing how tight of a space that is. And if the Knicks ever win another one, they're going to have to do this parade on Fifth Avenue like they do Thanksgiving and St. Patrick's Day. You can't do it. I know it's Canyon of Heroes, but you need a bigger space. But what blew my mind, Mike, was every time we got to a cross street like you were just naming, I would look down the cross street, and you're talking about 2 or 3 blocks deep of people lined up just to get a glimpse. And I found that to be the most remarkable thing. It really is. And my kids went through it too. My kids couldn't get close enough. They couldn't get onto Broadway. They were like, I think they said they were like a block away, and they said they saw me for like 3 seconds, just a glimpse as we went by. But that's the reality of it. But it just showed you it was what 2 million people came out to see this thing. But you know what? You can say to your kids, you saw that trophy with your own eyes. And that's all that matters. Exactly. It means it really did happen. Thanks, Mike. I appreciate it. I love hearing everybody's experience on this thing. Let's go to Lamar in the Bronx. What's up, Lamar?
Hey, what's going on, Alan? First off, I want to say you did a fantastic job throughout the whole playoffs, doubling from MSG and just going to get up. You were magnificent. So I hope you can get a good vacation yourself.
That's coming. That's coming. No sleep, but we sleep in August. We sleep in July.
So I was exactly 1 month when the Knicks first won the championship. So this means a lot to me from somebody who used to watch the Knicks on Channel 9 and only see home games.
Yeah.
And watching Kelly Chapuka beat us and stuff like that. This was ultimate. And you brought up a name when you said Al Troutwig. And I also thought about John Andres, who was fantastic with the coverage. I'm still not over this, Alan. This is something that I've been dreaming about for the last, 40 years. So I can't tell you if I came down yet, because I don't know if I came down yet. But,
no need.
True Knicks fans know what this is about, because this is something that's a long time coming for us.
There's no question.
I just appreciate you giving me a time to say that.
No, and I appreciate what you said, Lamar, because bringing up John Andres is definitely somebody I loved and revered, and another guy that took me under his wing when I was a beat writer. I was new to it, and you talk about a competitive beat, man. Like, I stepped into that thing after 7 years of covering the NHL, and while I knew the game, I knew basketball, I knew the NBA, I knew the Knicks history really well. You're stepping into that's a mosh pit, man. Like it is competitive, and it's tough, and you got to be ready for it. And John was so good about the first year, just kind of helping me out as far as just guidance, and just such a smart guy. Knew the league so well, introducing me to different people when we'd be on the road. Great appreciation for John, and that's why and I say this with a ton of humility, I swear, when I've been given the opportunity by MSG to sit in the analyst seat calling a game, next to Mike Breen, next to Tyler Murray, and I get to be there, especially when it's a home game, and I'm sitting in Clyde's seat, center court, Madison Square Garden for an NBA game. And I just, again, it's surreal. And I always think of John, because I grew up listening to Marvin John and calling games. And John is somebody that I related to really well because, he didn't play in the NBA. He was a great college player at Fordham, but he didn't play in a league. But he knew the game. He knew it well. He knew the league well. He did his homework. He did his prep. He knew players. He knew coaches. He could tell stories. And I said, I always used to say, if John can do it, I can do it. I never thought I would. But so that's why when I'm there, I always think of John, kind of a tip of the hat to him. I'm not here if you didn't do what you did, if you weren't good at it. So it meant a lot to me. Thank you for letting me share that, by the way. Russ on the LIE. I hope you're not stuck in traffic. Russ, what's happening with you?
How you doing, Alan? So I was lucky enough to be at Game 6 of the 2003 ALCS and Game 6 of the World Series in 2009. 2003 ALCS against the Sox, if you remember, the Yankees were down 4 early and seemed like they had no chance. And all of a sudden they came back with 3 runs to tie it up. And you had the 9th, the 10th, the 11th, and the knuckles were tight and the whole stadium was just tense. When Boone hit that home run in the 11th inning,
Speaking of knuckles,
it was just relief and then exultation. And that kind of reminded me of Game 4 with the Knicks because they were down early, and it was just like relief that they won and exultation. And then Game 5, again, the Knicks are down early, but in 2009, again, the Yankees were down early in that series, and you remember they came back in that inning with Hideki Matsui and Posada, and you knew that once they had that lead that they were going to win because Mariano was going to come out of the whole thing. And so they win that game, but that was pure joy. And that's what the end of the Knicks Game 5 felt like, just pure joy. You couldn't enjoy Game 4 until it was over because they had the lead for a second.
Right. Same
thing with Boone's home run. I couldn't see Boone's home run get into the stands from where I was, but I could tell by the crowd they won. So just to be there, and I was also lucky to be, with those games that my father who passed since. But, I was able to at least have that moment now with my kids at those games because they were with me at both of those, not on the new ones, the Knicks games. We were together wherever we were. Just to share that kind of also brought back my father to me. So, again, sports, family, the whole thing.
Yep.
The whole thing was just amazing. But, again, 2003, the stress, and then 2009, the victory, the joy. Just reminded me of the Knicks now.
Yeah, and it's also that like you looked at a team, they were vets, they were pros, like it always felt like there were a couple that like if they get the lead, they're not giving it up, and that was like Eric Spoelstra, I think it was last season or maybe earlier this past year, said something about the Knicks that always stood out to me where he talked about their maniacal will to win, that you have to match it. Because they just had that spirit where if they had if you left the door open, they were always going to go through. They were going to kick the door down. They were just made like that. And I always laugh because I did it. Lack of toughness. Is this team tough enough? They lost Hartenstein. They lost DiVincenzo. Do they have enough toughness? We've said this so many times over the last 2 years about them. And then I learned during this run, even during this past season, is like, you know what? Throwing elbows and, going nose-to-nose confrontations and shoving somebody and all that, that's toughness in one way. But the Knicks had a different kind of toughness where they, like Brunson, Trae Young rolls the dice, center court, Madison Square Garden. Now, Trae Young wasn't doing that at Brunson. He was doing that mostly for fans. Yeah, that was his way of kind of saying, like, I own you. Even though he didn't, but he liked to do that stuff. And I remember like asking Brunson about it after the game. He was so mad at me for asking that question on camera. And I felt bad but I felt like you had to ask him. But I didn't realize it would like bother him. But then when you look back, Trae Young has never beaten the Knicks since then. So is that tough? You don't think that that's a toughness of, all right, you got me, but you're not getting me again. And there's a different type of mental toughness that I think is special in sports where you don't show the emotion of like getting physical, getting in someone's face. You just stare at them with that calm look, just knowing you're never winning again. And he hasn't. More of your calls, 800-919-3776. We got ENN coming up at 6. And don't forget again, we have for you the Home Run Derby tonight right here on ESPN New York. And ESPN New York's Home Run Derby coverage is presented by Pella Window and Doors of New Jersey. Visit Pella.com/Eisen to find your local showroom today. That's coming up at 8 o'clock. And don't forget, Ben Rice of the Yankees is a participant in that. More of your calls, ENN coming up at 6. Don Hahn Rosenberg, ESPN New York. You know, Chuck D also has stories about his experience of watching that Game 5 and the reality. What a huge Knicks fan he is, speaking of Public Enemy that we're playing for you right here. But it's also his, like, he kept telling me throughout the finals, throughout the playoffs, that this Knicks team is like a very similar story. Not the team itself, but like the franchise going on a run like this was like the 55 Brooklyn Dodgers, where you were just so used to them losing every year. Of course, different story because the Dodgers kept losing to the Yankees every year. But it was like, when are they going to finally break through? When can they finally break through? And they did. And it's like the fan base, the Brooklyn fan base, called them bums. It's like they didn't know what to do. They didn't know what to do, but it was such a celebration when they finally did it, that it was an emotional one, that a type of championship that, not to quote Sam Rosen, but one that would last a lifetime. And that's what this one certainly feels like. I still think they've got another in them. I don't know if they'll get it, but I just think with its team returning majority of its roster, with the East kind of being what is the East? What do you know that Boston's going to be? What is Detroit going to be? What's Cleveland going to be? Keep an eye on LeBron. I'm telling you, I think LeBron is going to either go to Cleveland or Golden State. Those are, to me, the two logical places it could end up. Both franchises are trying to set. I know Draymond's really trying to make it happen. Cleveland's ready for it. They are basically just kind of waiting for it to happen. I think that's the place. But Golden State, to me, could be the runner-up in this thing. We shall see. But what will that look like when all is said and done? Would they be a team that can challenge them finally? I don't know what Miami's going to be. Bam is really good. Giannis obviously is great. But what else is on that roster? So, it's still there for the Knicks if they want to. This feels so similar to the early 70s when the Knicks won those 2 in 4 seasons. They got to 3 finals in 4 seasons. It was because, Bill Russell retired. The Celtics were no longer just owning the East. And there was sort of a lot of, Baltimore was good for a year. Milwaukee was good. But the Knicks were good every year. And they had 2 healthy seasons that they were able to get a couple of rings out of it. So this group could happen. It could happen. But we got one. And that one is something that everybody's been waiting for such a long time. Calls, you're all waiting, too, to talk to me. 800-919-3776 with ENN coming up at the top of the hour. Let's go. Let's see. Will in Massapequa has been waiting a while. Hey, Will.
Hey, Alan. How are you?
Good.
I just wanted to call. This is actually perfect that, you're doing this today and everything. You said right after the Knicks won that people were, like, congratulating you, and you were like, well, I didn't really do anything. I wasn't. I didn't play all that stuff. But I just wanted to put something in perspective for you. I became a Knicks fan when I got into basketball in high school, and there were all those highs of like Linsanity and things like that, and all those cool moments. And along all those times, you were right there, whether it was Hahn and Humpty or leading up to a pregame on ESPN radio or anything like that. During COVID with the Knicks Fix, you bringing us on the air or FaceTime, and you were doing it with the team, with all the fans and stuff. You were in that moment, and like they say, Jalen Brunson's like the everyman player. You're the everyman fan, man. So those congratulations, those flowers for you, and how happy we were to like celebrate with you. You earned it, and you deserved it, and like it feels like a big Knicks family, and like you're part of that family, and you're our, I guess you could say, megaphone, if you want to put it that way. So, you earned it, and it was so worth it to, get your reaction right after the game when we finally clinched it.
I love that, Will. Thank you for that. Yeah, I love that part of it, right? Like the last remote show that we did, because we did a lot of them during the run, which was great, and Stout was awesome. It was just great being there. And that was right after the parade. And you guys might have remembered that I showed up no worse for the wear, or maybe worse for the wear, from that parade because it was just wild. And that vibe in Stout that day was unreal. And how many fans that we all kind of like ran into each other, and all the different stories I heard, and I must have hugged a million people. And if I didn't get a chance to give you a hug, I apologize, and I owe you one. Like, it was just, that was the cool thing about it. And it's sort of that thinking of like growing up together and graduating. If you've ever been somebody that had the ability to go to the same school with the same group of people from kindergarten to high school, and I mean, in the public school system, that could happen. Now, I know for a lot of people, I got sick of these people. But there could be also like you've all kind of been through a lot together and you graduate together and you know that's it. We're all going to go in our separate ways. And it's sort of like, feels like that, right? Like that's kind of what it felt like. Like, hey, we made it. Like we finally got there. So that was the fun part of that. All right, a lot of you on hold. Stay with me because we have ENN, but then we still got to take you all the way up to 7 before we get to, of course, the home run derby coverage and everything else. So I do want to talk to you. I don't want to miss the opportunity to talk with you. It's been a great Han Solo. It's been a lot of fun. Peter will be back tomorrow. Don's on vacation this week. So this was a unique opportunity for us to share a day where it's a month anniversary, a month to the day of the Knicks winning that championship. And it was fun reliving that while also talking some Yankees and some Giants along the way as well. So all of you want to talk Yankees, Giants, Knicks, all that, we'll get to those calls after ENN, which is next. Don Hahn, Rosenberg, ESPN, New York.
The World's Game at BetMGM is here. Bet on the soccer showdowns with 2-up early payouts so that if you're up 2, BetMGM will pay you. That's right. Place a pregame, straight match result bet on any tournament game. If at any point your team is up by 2 goals, you'll instantly win your bet. Then enjoy BetMGM's same-game parlays, daily promotions, player props, and so much more for the World's Game. Don't miss your shot at an early win with 2-up early payout to get paid out if at any point your team is up by 2 goals, regardless of the final outcome of the match. Make it a tournament to remember with BetMGM. BetMGM and GameSense remind you to play responsibly. Gambling problem? Call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. See BetMGM.com for terms. 21 plus years of age to wager and physically present in New York only. New and existing customer offer. Subject to eligibility requirements. Additional terms and restrictions may apply.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Call 877-CARS-FOR-KIDS to reach a friendly live agent. Donation is super easy, and your car can be picked up as soon as tomorrow. Call us now or go to carsforkids.org.
Donate your car today.
Did you know you can donate real estate too?
Hi, this is Don LaGreca. Just like the New Jersey Devils bring intensity on the ice, Viking Pest Control brings the same level of protection to your home. And I know because I use Viking at my own place. The season may be over, but pests are always in play. So it's time to lock in your off-season defense. As the pest control provider and proud partner of the Devils, Viking delivers 45 years of trusted experience to keep ants, cockroaches, stinging insects, rodents, mosquitoes, and more out of your zone. And when you bundle pest control mosquito services, you score big savings. One call, one company, total peace of mind. Visit VikingPest.com, protecting your home inside and out.
Now let's take a look at the traffic with Brandy Scott.
Thanks a million, guys. I hope you have an amazing rest of the night. Not so great on the Southern State westbound in Nassau County. Crash in the left lane by Newbridge Road. Police and tow truck on the scene. Crawling there from Bethpage State Parkway. New issue heading over to the outbound George Harlem River Drive northbound right before the Cross Bronx. Accident in the center lane. You're not moving much there from before the Macombs Dam Bridge. West Side Highway northbound. They did pick up that broken down SUV on the ramp to the outbound George. Still stop and go there from the 90s. Inbound Georgia, about 20 to 30 for both the upper and lower decks using 80-95. Better from the 4 and 46 approaches. Outbound Lincoln and Holland Tunnels are only about 10 to 15 minutes each. No relief on 287 eastbound in Westchester County. 2 lanes out with emergency road work right before the Sawmill in Elmsford. That is you packed heading across the span of the Tappan Zee Bridge from the Rockland side. I'm Brandy Scott on 880 ESPN New York.
Harry Douglas here to tell you about Fruity Rainbow 5-Hour Energy Shots. It's a fruity candy flavor explosion, and I mean explosion. Fruity Rainbow 5-Hour Energy Shots, a zero-sugar treat that's sweet tooth approved. These can take care of my candy cravings and provides a tasty caffeine kick without all the sugar. Fruity Rainbow 5-Hour Energy Shots. Get candy-flavored chaos with Fruity Rainbow 5-Hour Energy Shots, available online at 5hourenergy.com or Amazon.
Progressive presents ways to save money that aren't bundling your home and auto insurance with Progressive.
I can't believe the deal we got on these seats for the game.
Wow, they must be pretty high up here. I think my ears just popped.
Yeah, here, put this on.
Is that an oxygen mask?
An official team oxygen mask.
Well, I can kind of see the field.
Good, your senses are still sharp. You're going to need them for phase 2 of the ascent.
Don't save money by sitting in the nosebleeds. You could save hundreds by switching to Progressive. Get a quote at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers. Not available in all states or situations.
ESPN New York is your home for the world champion New York Knicks. WHSQ and WCBS-FM HD2, New York. This is an ENN special report. Now reporting.
The very handsome Jewish man, Peter Rosenberg.
We should talk some sports. Do what you want. It's ENN.
ENN, today hosted by the lovely and talented Anthony Pusick.
Oh, thank you, Alan. You were on assignment on Friday. How did the assignment go?
Well, it was not a great team record weekend.
Okay.
They were playing up, so Callie's playing against older girls.
Those will happen sometimes.
But she still scored a nasty goal, though.
That's good.
And she had a couple of ankle breakers.
One for the highlight reel.
So I was, I was very proud of girls hockey. It's starting to get physical.
Okay.
And so she's all about it. So I was very proud of her. So that was great, and we had a great time.
Well,
so
she's setting the tone. Nice. She's setting the standard.
No question. And she took a roughing penalty, which there was a little part of me that was like, hell yeah. even though after I'm like, Callie, you're not allowed to do that.
She could hear this. She could hear this. She could hear what you're saying.
There's always that little part that's like, yeah.
All right.
Don't take that crap from anybody.
Well, here's what you missed on Friday. Let's say good evening to Don and Jalen.
One call, one company, total peace of mind. Visit VikingPest.com.
Protecting your home inside and out.
Okay, so here's why all that's important. You know that we edit things here. That was not edited. That was the quickest reaction time that a child on any of the shows on this radio station has ever had for anything.
It's a great point.
It was clear, it was concise, and it might have been as good as Don.
I would argue better.
There you go. Now, that you might hear in the thing we like to call Drop Madness, because while you were gone, Alan, for some reason, your other two co-hosts thought it would be a good idea to say, how come we got rid of Drop Madness? Why aren't we bringing that back? And I said, I thought we all agreed that we were getting rid of it. So there's a good to fair chance, and I guess, in a month when we're all back together, we'll have to have a discussion.
2 against 1, so I'm going to lose that vote.
I guess so. But again, like I said, in a month when we're all back together, we could have that conversation if we remember it. Good evening to a caller.
I know Andy Pusick is not a big fan. He works hard at it.
So this was a very controversial drop.
Not a fan of...
Is that my name?
Say it again.
I know Andy Pusick is not a big fan. He works hard at it.
So they think it was Andy.
No, he said Anthony.
I said it sounded like Anthony or some shortened version of my name that was cut off because the phone line wasn't very good.
He rushed through saying Anthony. So I was like, Anthony, like really fast.
Mm-hmm.
That was
what we do in New York.
That was the laziest Anthony ever.
It's just, I got to say it quickly. It's too long. It's 3 syllables is too much for a name.
I get you. I understand. It's a very complicated name.
How come you never went Tony, did you?
No. I think personally it's a completely different name.
Oh, he loses it. I've seen it in the studio.
Hey T. Hey Tom.
Now see, that's different. Now they can call me if they come up to me ask for Baja Fresh. They can call me whatever they want. That's fine. But I believe that Tony is a different name.
You want me to send the kid for Baja Fresh.
People
you want to send the kid for Baja Fresh.
Anybody that has called me that is the only people that have called me that. It's like, anybody ever call you Tony? It's like, no. It's like, well, I'm going to call you Tony. I'm like, well, that's great.
Yeah.
It's not my name though.
No. It's not my name.
It's not my name. They call me Stacy. Peter, good evening to you.
That would be good. I mean, that
would be what?
That would be. I think it was somewhere between.
That would be good. I mean, that
great or good.
Yeah,
exactly.
Great or good, and then he had a stroke. So that'll make the Flubs region at some point when we get there. Welcome to Ian.
Wait. So you're already mentally preparing for this?
Oh, not only am I mentally preparing, I spent this morning going through what I usually do month after month after month. I've gone through the 597 drops that we've had since March 7th of 2026.
Okay.
And if we started this right now, we'd have a full field. I think the field could get much better.
All right, ready? We're all on camera right now. Raise your hand if you think this is a bad idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
That's 32.
But don't worry, they're into it, and we'll see what happens once the summer.
We'll get a sponsor, and then it'll all work out.
Anyway. Anyway, let's hear from the crowd.
D'Agostino.
Speaking of one of the best things that we've ever done as a radio station, we've had a lot of good moments.
That was better than the Power Hour we had a couple of years ago when Bart and I were at the Beach Bash and the crowd did the Power Hour with us. That was tremendous.
Listen, and of course we always talk about it. You have to factor in the situation, right, Alan? You're talking about 107. This is a hurt crowd. They're hurting right now. It was around 4.
Battled through the day.
4:30, and then you had that, but then you also had this from 2024. Big gong.
We've got the gong.
They still going, mama. They still going, mama. Can you feel it, mama?
I love Bart.
Bart is fantastic.
That's so good. You know. Also, too, quick observation.
Yeah.
DiPietro definitely does a couple of curls a day.
Oh.
Did you see the photos we put up of him?
Oh, hang on.
Listen.
Peter had some thoughts on that.
Oh, no.
Rick is a freak, an absolute gorilla. It's insane.
What? Gorilla?
Yeah, he said gorilla.
Oh, he's jacked.
He's jacked. I was there when he
looked,
did.
No, I'm telling you, physically,
Listen.
I know he was banged up. I know the back was killing him. He looked phenomenal.
Yeah,
I didn't see those photos until later on. I'm like, ESPN New York, follow them on Instagram, and I'm like, damn.
He only let in 9, and I bet if he was healthy, out of 30, if I'm not mistaken, I bet if he was healthy, he would have made some more. Because I don't think diving. First of all, diving would have been hard. I don't know if there was that much sand there. So if Rick really wanted to go, even if he was healthy, that would have been a very hard surface for him to dive on.
Not a great save percentage.
But listen, I give him a lot of credit, and everybody that participated was awesome,
Again,
too.
he fought through. He took one for the team. He played hurt, and it's okay.
He played hurt.
But I'm telling you right now, Inspiration, as you know, right outside this room, is a home gym that's in the midst of being built.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, of course, Rings End provided the beautiful French door that leads out to the pool. But
yes.
The room itself, inspired by many of the hotels that I've stayed in traveling with the Knicks, I've taken notes from all of them and said, this is what I want my house.
Wow.
Because I need to try to stay as young as I can.
Okay.
And seeing that photo of Rick, I am now inspired.
Yeah.
That next year's Beach Bash, I might have to go sleeveless.
Okay.
I think you should.
It might have to be suns out, guns out. But I got to work for it. I need 12 months to get it right.
And we have that kind of time.
I tell you, I saw that picture. I'd start immediately 200 push-ups.
200 push-ups.
You just decided to start working out too, right?
I do like 100 a day to see how much I could get. I had to up it because I'm like, this is not enough. I got to get on Rick's level.
You see, Jake, you and I are the same, where we see someone and we are inspired by something great about them. Peter wasn't inspired. He was more annoyed by it and called him a gorilla.
Rick is a freak, an absolute gorilla. It's insane.
Now, again,
I take offense.
Drops out of context. It was very complimentary, and he was more just astounded at the way that Rick looked.
Well, all right.
Yeah.
I'll take your word for it. I wasn't there.
That's right.
But like I said, let people inspire you.
Well, listen, you know that anytime I do this, I try to fit in a hockey story when I can. This one, actually, I don't have to try. There is breaking news in the hockey world.
Oh, breaking
and it involves the Hockey Ranger. There was one man that filed for arbitration for the New York Rangers, and that was Braden Schneider, and he was a lot of trade talks throughout the year. Is he going to get dealt for one of the moves that the Rangers wanted to make the team better? How does he fit in with the new defense that they've put together? Well, at least for the moment, he is still with them. 1 year, $5.5 million they settled on. Okay. That's a 1-year deal. A lot of the things that they've done outside of Pavel Dorofeyev is that anybody that they've signed, including Oliver Bjorkstrand for 1 year and $4.5 million, are their movable contracts. If this season doesn't go the way the Rangers want, which you would think is better than last place in the East, which would be nice, they can try and move some of these very movable, decent AAV contracts with a rising cap for a team that needs a right-handed defenseman towards the end of the year or a top 9 forward in Oliver Bjorkstrand. come the deadline.
You see this more. I see what you're saying about the Rangers.
Well, they certainly didn't want to give him a long-term deal.
No, they are being fiscally flexible.
Fiscally flexible and
you like that?
Thinking, and I'd imagine they wanted these guys, obviously, because they paid them. But you're looking at a team that knows where they're at. This is not a team that thinks they're contending right away. They are retooling. This is truly what Chris Drury said in the letter. This is a retool. Pavel Dorofeyev is clearly part of the future. Sean Durzi could be part of the future. He's a young defenseman. Braden Schneider, they thought could be the future, but they gave him a one-year deal. This is almost a prove-it deal. Kind of gave it to Ryan Lindgren. It did not work out well for Ryan Lindgren.
Isn't he their own guy?
Schneider is, yeah.
He's their draft pick. He's still young.
He is young.
Like 23?
Got to see exactly what his age
he's
is.
Still really, he's a big defenseman.
They called him Baby Trouba for a time when he paired with him.
So that's the thing that's a little off to me. This is your own draft pick, and you're still kind of just going with the QO.
Yeah, he was drafted 19th overall in 2020 by the Rangers. He's 24 years old, going to be
24,
25 in September.
All right, so he's a little bit older than I thought.
A little older, but still, and knowing what you have Vlad Gavrikov now. You've got Durzi. You've got Fox. You've got guys that can fill the roles of a top 4 deep pairing grouping. Yeah. And is Schneider part of that? And last year he had to take on a lot of the load when Fox was hurt, and whether it was to his credit or not to his credit, he may not have been as good as everybody thought he would be, even though Mike Sullivan heaped a lot of praise.
That really goes above what he is,
yes.
Right?
Yeah.
He's like a two-way. Like, I don't think he's he's not like a lead the rush offense kind of like.
No,
he's definitely not an Adam Fox.
No,
right?
He's a physical guy, and one of the things they needed to up their puck moving ability for the defense. It's something that that Mike Sullivan's offense needs and desires, and they got Pettersson, who Mike Sullivan, of course, knew when he was in Pittsburgh, and Durzi, and that's your new probably second pair on defense.
Okay.
Now, if you have Robertson and Schneider thrived in a third pair role early in his career. Now you're an established third pair with a guy like Jason Robertson. It's a much better defense. Let's put it that way.
Okay.
For the New York Rangers. So that's a little something there. And Alan, this must have hurt you as much as it hurt me. Seeing the Utah Mammoth welcome in both Anders Lee and Vincent Trocheck at the same time.
Well,
we know he was on this show saying he wanted to be here.
Yeah.
Did Anders Lee, and that's a pretty good centering group now for that team.
Yes. And I think you get a guy like Lee. First of all, we know Trocheck, what he brings, right? And there was probably a lot of teams that would have loved to have had him. Lee is somebody that his value is seen and felt more off the ice than on it.
Yeah.
Because he's just such a quality guy for your room.
Mm-hmm.
And, he can obviously he can still play. He's not what he used to be. But he's still, put him in front of the net, he's hard to move. He's gonna cause trouble. I hate the fact that he had to leave. And all I could think of was whatever the offer the Islanders made, he took it as I'm worth more than that, and he would rather not finish his career at the Islanders because that's a big move. His whole career
Utah, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like his family, like he had roots here. For him to up and leave, it's said a lot. That kind of worries me a little bit.
Okay. Well, it's certainly something to monitor, no question about it.
Curious to see who gets to see now on the island.
Yeah, that is interesting.
Too early for the kid, right? Too early for the kid.
Is it?
No, you got Horvat still, and he's a leader.
It would be a bridge captain. We know that.
Oh, I mean, look, Schneider's going to be everything. I mean, Schaefer's going to be everything we're talking about.
Yeah, no, not Schneider. Schaefer, definitely.
Braden Schneider's with the Rangers. Yeah,
sure.
Schaefer's going to be, for hopefully the next 15 years,
Mm-hmm.
the be-all, end-all. But right now, too soon for a 19-year-old.
All right, so that was your hockey fix, everybody. Game misconduct is no more, but we had a little bit of time here on ENN, so that's what we got.
Yay!
Thank you, Don. Thank you, if you're listening out there. Alan, Dylan Cease will be starting for the American League tomorrow in the All-Star game, of course, managed by his manager, John Schneider.
Did you like, well, I know you guys have probably already did this, but did you, what he said, his reasons why, were you buying that stuff from Schneider? Before he knew that maybe he knew in advance. I don't think so.
Well, look, he doubled down again today, saying the stats and what he leads in over Schlittler, and I think it's only strikeouts and maybe a couple more advanced metrics. Cam Schlittler literally leads in everything else.
And Cam's team has a better record.
Honestly, and this is probably, and it's not like it's not close. Dylan Cease has been very good this year.
Yes.
These are probably the guys who are going to be 1-2 in the AL Cy Young.
Cy Young, yeah.
If things continue the way they're at. Maybe Sonny Gray has a conversation in Boston as well, who also isn't on an all-star team, which is funny. But if you even want to be, the real answer is it's my guy. And I wanted to start my guy.
And I guess, in a way, if you knew that Cease wanted it,
right,
you do it because I got to come back to Toronto and see this guy every day, and I don't want him going, you didn't think I was good enough to start the All-Star.
And
you know
what
I mean?
if, and let's extrapolate out
it doesn't matter.
The truth or untruth of they didn't know. Each side didn't know.
Okay.
Schneider made the decision before knowing whether Cam was going to pitch or not.
Right.
Cam was going to not pitch whether Schneider decided to make him the starter or not.
Yeah.
How bad does it look if you're John Schneider and you go, hey, we're going to go with Cam? Well, I don't really want to pitch. All right, Dylan, we're going to go with you.
Hey, Dylan.
Oh, really?
Oh,
Is that what you're going to do?
Okay. All right, I'm second choice. I see.
So Cam did talk about this after his start over the weekend and mentioned why he didn't want to pitch in the All-Star game, and he expanded on it more at Media Day today in Philly.
Yeah, I think the plan, from a month ago or so was to throw, especially if I was able to start. And, I felt confident with how I felt in Tampa after my start. Felt confident in my recovery, coming into Washington. And, I threw and I kind of sat there and I was like, listen, it's a long season. I've thrown a lot of innings so far. We've had a few injuries already and just didn't kind of want to risk the chance of feeling a little bit dragged, after if I were to go out there on a 2 days rest and try to throw 100 miles an hour. So, again, just trying to put myself and the team first, and we got bigger aspirations for this season.
As long as he feels good, I'm good. As long as it's not because he's hurt or feeling something, I'm good.
I love the answer. I love everything about what he said from a Yankee perspective. I hate it for baseball.
Right. Because a lot of guys probably feel this way.
It's a showcase for your sport.
Jacob Mizorowski throwing 106. Nobody wants to see that in the All-Star game? Well,
are you kidding me? And having the opportunity. Now, again, Judge is injured, so. But, think about, matchups and all that
no
stuff.
Ohtani.
Right?
Ohtani ain't going to be in it.
That's the fun part of this whole thing is those matchups you get to have in a game where the pressure's off and it's more about, I'm going to throw this gas at you, see if you can catch up to it. And if he does, it's hilarious because he probably belts a 500-foot home run. But if he strikes him out, it's hilarious because he just threw fireballs right past you. That's a fun confrontation moment. We never got to see it, or we won't get to see it this year. So, again, I'm all for it when it comes to whether it's Mizorowski and you want to make sure because Milwaukee doesn't want to lose him for any stretch. And if he's got a dead arm, yes, you got to let him sit. And for Schlittler, it's the same thing as Yankee fan. This is not his day to throw. It would be a waste of time to put him out there. And I'm not going to go in an all-star game knowing I can't really unwind and let her loose. So I'd rather not look bad. So just don't play. He's still there. He's still showing up. You told me he's going to be the Gatorade guy for Ben Rice tonight.
He said that when Ben announced that he was going to do it.
I love it.
I'd love for him to continue on with that and follow through. And why wouldn't he? He's there. Right. So I'm assuming he is going to be Ben's Gatorade guy.
That's great.
So that'll be pretty fun. It'll be cool to watch. And remember, everybody, it is on Netflix. So I can't wait for the calls tomorrow. If I didn't know where it was, and I didn't have my Netflix, and
Where's
my son,
the game? I don't know where the game is.
My son's got my Netflix
York's
password.
Home Run Derby coverage is presented by Pella Windows and Doors of New Jersey. You can visit Pella.com/Eisen to find your local showroom today. So we have that going for us, which is nice, and that's coming up again 8 o'clock right here. If you want to, if you have the radio on, you want to listen to it. That's where you can listen to it.
And of course, the media expanded. So Cam, are you disappointed that Schneider chose Cease as the starter?
I found that out after I decided I wasn't going to pitch. For me, that's a non-controllable. Dylan's been great this year. I haven't had a chance to sit down with Schneider yet, but I would like to have a good conversation, just introduce myself and go from there. And there's no hard feelings. That's not something I can control. I'm more worried about the second half, and Dylan deserves that. So I'm excited to go out there and see him from the same dugout.
All right, what do we know about Cam Schlittler?
Bulletin board fodder.
Oh my God. No hitter when he faces the Blue Jays is coming. Like something personal is going to happen in that game. If the next time he pitches against Toronto, it's great.
So that'll be fun.
Come on, this kid holds on to everything. He is all about the petty. He's the Richard Petty of petty.
And you know what? And he uses it as fuel. And Jaxson Dart can learn a little bit from Cam Schlittler of the people that say you're too aggressive or whatever. Don't get mad at them. Take in what they're saying and say, you know what, I'm still going to play the way I usually play, but I'm going to do it in a way that's safe for my team, and I'm still going to beat you.
Yeah.
That's
and
the way.
Don't say it out loud.
And don't say it out loud. That helps too.
Just internalize it. Just like if somebody's did you think about sliding there? I might have. Like, you just keep it inside.
Mm-hmm.
And then the next time you like fake someone out of his cleats and run it in for a touchdown, then that's when after the game you're like, I could have slid there, but then I wouldn't have been in the end zone.
Somebody just
you know
made
what I mean? Like, that's all you do, the little petty shots. That's how you handle New York.
It's very funny. I just looked at our YouTube chat.
Okay.
And Steven in the YouTube chat said, so the Home Run Derby's on Netflix, so no Raw? No, guys. It's a streaming service. There could be multiple live events. We're so ingrained in the cable of it all. It's at the same time. What other channel is it going to be on? No, you just click the button that says Raw if you want to watch Raw.
I'm sorry. You can also watch The Notebook instead of watching, the Home Run Derby if you want on Netflix.
You can split screen The Notebook with the Home Run Derby. And if you time it up just right, a Schwarber home run can happen as the iceberg hits the Titanic. If you really want to go there.
That Into You can also be viewed if you want instead of watching the Home Run Derby. It's not locked on a channel, which is, by the way, have you seen that some streaming services, get this, they want to do channels.
Huh.
Where you can watch live events in different channels.
Peter Rosenberg has said some very bright things on these airwaves. Back in, and Alan, you'll know this reference, back in West End,
yeah,
Peter said, streaming is eventually going to be cable.
It already
and
is.
We've got bundles of multiple streaming services, and we've got live channels on certain streaming services. We've got commercials on streaming services.
They took that from cable. Wait, I'm paying for cable, and I'm still watching commercials. Well, at least I have this streaming service where I don't have to because I'm paying for it, so I don't have to watch Oh,
no,
they're doing commercials too now.
They're doing commercials too.
Yeah.
Couple more fun things, Alan. I never like to depress you, but
please
hey, Bryce Harper, who's the player you'd most want to play with in baseball history?
I said it this year. I'd like to play with Aaron Judge. I know that's not in history, but I was able to play with him in the WBC, and it was just a lot of fun. We had a blast. But yeah, I would say Aaron Judge as of right now.
If only we had that opportunity. Oh, right, we did have that opportunity.
Yeah,
that was a thing that could have happened.
It could have happened, but it didn't. Even though he wanted to come here, Brian Cashman's like, I'm good.
He's good.
And are we? But I'll tell you what, though, and I love the fact that he said had a blast because, pun intended, if there's anyone that could play in New York and handle it, don't you think it's him? Like he passed the clown question bro part of his life, right? He got over that. I look at him as a guy that absolutely you could bring him in as a vet and he'd handle this no problem.
I would think so. Yeah, I think I think we're obviously now past that.
Yeah.
I would think it's fair to say for both of them. He's pretty well ingrained in Philly now as Bryce, and we know Aaron's not going anywhere.
No,
so
it's not going to happen.
Just, what could have been.
But the Trout thing that a caller brought up at the beginning of the show, like, why is that still a thing?
No, he just doesn't. I don't think he wants to go anywhere. He had a chance to go back to Philly, his hometown, before he signed the extension. Yeah. I'm sure Philly would have found the money. They're finding money for everybody. I think they would have found money for hometown boy Mike Trout. Jeez. I know he's from, southern New Jersey, so it's not hometown, but he rooted for the Phillies. So
well, South Jersey is Philly. It's all Philly, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Harper's the one that had the Yankee family, right? It was like the dad loved the Yankees or something like that.
Something like that.
Wasn't it Harper?
It would have been great.
Am I crazy?
It would have been great.
I just don't know with Trout. Let's just say the Angels are like, you know what? We really don't want him around. We're done with him. Which is why would you? But of course,
we really want to fall into irrelevance. We really just don't want to do anything.
We just want to suck, and we don't want to pay. But he still has 4 years left at $37 million a year. He's gonna be 38 when this is done.
Hurt again this year too for a little bit, by the way.
Is that really news?
Not really.
So
unfortunately for him,
where the Yankees are payroll-wise, and I guess 37 sounds like a lot, but these days is it? The Yankees just aren't doing that, right?
We'd have to get to the point that you discussed, Alan, what seemingly is an inevitable work stoppage for baseball, where if a cap of some sort gets implemented, much like they did with the NHL when they got out of the lockout in 2012-13, that they gave a buyout for a contract that wouldn't count towards the cap because no matter what you do, there's going to be a contract you're going to have to find yourself rid of so that person goes back into the open market.
I think
that's where the Angels would punt.
My prediction is they're going to give you two choices. You can have an amnesty provision where you can just dump one, where you pay it out, the player comes off your roster, but it doesn't count anymore against your cap. Then I think they're going to do one that is a grandfather. You choose one that gets grandfathered in. And also, like, you have a choice.
Dodgers, Ohtani, next.
Oh, my God. Yankees, Judge, next. But the Trout thing's so interesting because it would be fun to see a guy of his caliber playing in a big market and doing something that matters and playing actually in the playoffs. But a center fielder, in his mid to late 30s, you already have it. You're cornering the market on DHs, and we all know Judge is going to eventually have to be a DH. So it just that stuff doesn't make sense. Harper, though, man.
There was some interesting sound from Juan Soto, but Alan, there's a story with Bryce Harper that I wanted to get to. I think that's probably where you want to go. You heard the story.
We can do next. Yeah,
so we can do the Soto thing next. We also never got to the. You mentioned it with Graziano, of course. The NFL released, or Jeremy Fowler released, with all of his interviews with execs and scouts around the league, the top 10 quarterbacks in the NFL, according to their peers. So that should be interesting as well. Maybe we get into it, Peter, tomorrow. Philadelphia Phillies star Bryce Harper said today that he did not know how FanDuel would use the personalized video he made for a customer who has since accused the sportsbook in a lawsuit of taking advantage of his gambling addiction.
What?
Harper put this statement out on Instagram that he would not have made the video if he had known FanDuel's intent to use it. And this is the part that's interesting. As part of a VIP promotion or the betting habits of the customer, Terry Thompson. I didn't know FanDuel would do this. Harper wrote, I didn't consent to it, and FanDuel had no right to do it. Here's the story.
Yeah.
Harper said he received a request on Cameo on November 2024, much like Don or Peter, and now and one day yourself, when you do your cameos.
If I ever.
To read the provided script for a personal holiday video for Terry. Philadelphia Inquirer published portions of the video in a story last Thursday, and Harper included a screenshot of the Cameo request with his statement. Hey, Terry, what's up, brother? Hey, man. Your host, Brittany from FanDuel, wanted to make sure your Thanksgiving was extra special, Harper says in the opening of the video. Thompson in March sued FanDuel and his VIP host, Brittany Morgan, along with DraftKings, the NFL, and the league's official data distributor, Genius Sports, claiming the sportsbook caused him to become addicted, leading to approximately $2 million in betting losses.
Wow.
Had I known FanDuel's true intent, I would not have made the video, Harper said. The same is true had I known anything about Terry or his situation or about any alleged partnership between Cameo and FanDuel. So I'm guessing, it sounds like FanDuel used Cameo to try and make one of their VIPs have a special experience, let's call it, I guess.
And stay betting.
And giving this man a cameo of Bryce Harper.
Right. So, hey, we're hooking you up. Look at this benefit you get for being a VIP guy.
With
us.
By
the way, you haven't bet in a while. Come on, get back in the game.
So that's kind of and we've talked about it a lot. There's dark sides to a lot of this stuff.
But using a player's celebrity as a lure, if I'm a player, there's no way you want that.
Without knowing exactly. Now, it said FanDuel, and Bryce put up the screenshot. So it said, like, for FanDuel or whatever.
Yeah.
But clearly Bryce did not know the way it was going to be used. And he said, had I known this is the way it was going to be used or what it was going to be used for, I would not have.
Do you believe him?
Agreed to do it. I don't know.
I believe him.
I believe him. I'd say I believe him because what's the harm? By saying that he's not cool with this, he wouldn't be doing it again.
Right.
And this is, as far as we know, the only instance of this happening for him.
It just continues to give the example of why leagues and players being affiliated with betting services is like it's
a fine line.
Doesn't feel right.
No, it's tough. It's very, very tough.
It's like what is it? What was he on? Kalshi?
Yeah. The prediction markets.
It doesn't feel right.
And wasn't
we have no regulation over any of this stuff.
The NBA wants to get rid of prop bets, right? Or they're trying to convince. Was the NBA or MLB?
I thought it was one of the players' unions were trying to stop the prop bets thing.
Yeah, well, look, and because, again, you hear what these guys are going through. Hey, I had you for a double. I had you for a triple.
Oh, the death threats that not only they get, but how about family members get?
Yeah, it's too much.
Stuff. It's way too close.
It's too much. That's going to do it for ENN, everybody.
Great ENN.
Sorry on a downer, but that's going to do it for ENN. Let me see if I can. Brighten the mood a little bit here. Let's see.
She loves
Skinner. There we go.
I need a little more Jalen.
Oh, here we go.
Let's hear Jalen.
One call, one company, total peace of mind. Visit VikingPest.com.
Protecting your home inside and out.
Nailed it, Jalen. Nailed it. Your call's coming up at 800-919-3776. I promise to get to all of you. And also, as Anthony mentioned, this Soto comments, very interesting stuff that you don't want to miss. We'll play some of that for you as well. Don Hahn Rosenberg, ESPN New York.
Mornings with DiPietro and Rothenberg.
The Mets, if you're one of those people that hates David Stearns, isn't it almost better for it to look like this? So the worse this looks, could you just get to the point where, like, no, as much as I'd like to keep him, this is so bad. And the fan base is so disengaged, and they despise this guy that I almost can't bring him back. And that's led to being the laughingstock of Major League Baseball right now. You are.
DiPietro and Rothenberg, morning 6 to 10 on ESPN New York and streaming live on YouTube.
On the biggest stage in the world, FanDuel is changing the game because sometimes your player gets subbed off and your bet goes with them. Not anymore. With FanDuel Super Sub, if your player is subbed out, your bet stays in. If your player leaves the match, your bet continues on with a substitute, so you're still in on it until the final whistle. So if you're looking to get in on the biggest tournament in the world, now is your time. Visit FanDuel.com/local to get started. Let there be goals this summer on FanDuel. With FanDuel Super Sub, if your player is subbed out, your bet stays in. That's right, if your player leaves the match, your bet continues on with a substitute, so you're still in on it until the final whistle. On the biggest stage in the world, FanDuel is changing the game. Must be 21 and older and physically present in New York. For help with a gambling problem, call 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY at 467-369.
If you're heading into summer without a medical emergency kit, you're taking a risk most people don't think about until it's too late. Summer colds linger and can turn into sinus infections that last for weeks. Getting sick right now before vacation can derail everything. And when you're traveling, finding a doctor and pharmacy is stressful. That's why I ordered a medical emergency kit. It's like having urgent care and a pharmacy right at home. It includes essential prescriptions like amoxicillin and generic Z-Pak to treat a wide range of common and serious illnesses. So if you wake up sick at home or on the road, you already have what you need. No waiting for your doctor, no hours at urgent care, no pharmacy lines, no copays. Just match your symptoms to the right prescription in your guidebook or call their telemedicine doctor standing by. Start on your meds sooner and feel better faster. Every home needs at least one medical emergency kit. Order yours online in minutes and it's shipped to your door. And save $45 with my promo code 880 at urgentcarekit.com/880. That's promo code 880 at urgentcarekit.com/880.
This is Bart and Carlin on ESPN New York.
Joe Girardi.
Boone and Passman, how long does that last as far as being able to keep getting opportunities and still falling short?
I do believe in places that you have a shelf life. It was time for a change with me. Aaron Boone has done a really good job. It really comes up to Hal Steinbrenner when he thinks it's time to make a change.
Bart Scott, Chris Carlin, weekdays at 10 a.m. on ESPN New York and streaming live on YouTube.
At City Harvest, we believe no New Yorker has to go hungry. With your help, we're on the road 365 days a year, rescuing over 77 million pounds of nutritious food and delivering it free to millions of New Yorkers, transforming surplus food into sustenance, sustainability, and smiles, rallying thousands of New Yorkers to power a network of nourishment across our city. One day, one meal, and one New Yorker at a time. That's how we feed good. Donate at cityharvest.org.
Miller time. People think it just happens, but that's not true. You know what you gotta do? You gotta go say hello with some beers. Make the plans. Forget the couch. Go to that thing. Play the game. See them in person. Talk to that stranger. Live a little. Small acts of rebellion that bring us together. Because legendary moments start with a light. It's Miller time. Celebrate responsibly. 2026 Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
This is the story of the one who keeps multiple buildings running smoothly day after day. Plumbing that flows, HVAC that hums, cleaning supplies that keep surfaces sparkling. That's why she counts on Grainger. With easy reordering online and 24/7 support, Grainger helps her keep the products she needs on hand. So shelves stay stocked and buildings stay ready. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Drip Drop is doctor-developed, proven fast hydration that helps your body and mind work better. Trusted by firefighters, medical professionals, and over 90% of top college and pro sports teams. Drip Drop is engineered to hydrate faster and more effectively than water alone, with 3 times the electrolytes of leading sports drinks. Stock up now at dripdrop.com and use promo code RADIO20 for 20% off your first order. That's dripdrop.com, promo code RADIO20.
All right, Anthony, so this did not make ENN, but I find this to be a very compelling story as we go into the All-Star break because, look, there's 2 teams that I don't want to put a lot of energy into. One of them's the Jets because while I do think, as I talked to Dan Graziano earlier, and if you missed that conversation, he was really good. Graz knows a lot about the NFL. We talked a lot of Giants, but we did talk some Jets. And if you missed it, we have it on the podcast, of course. You can see that. Also on the YouTube channel, it's its own link that you can just watch just that. I actually retweeted it on Twitter, so if you miss it, just go check that out because Graz was great. But we did talk a little Jets, and the credit I wanted to give was to Darren Muji, the GM, because I do think he's been really good. And if you want to have just a modicum of reason to have hope, that's your reason because it does seem like he's building a good roster, figure out the quarterback thing. Maybe Geno Smith needs to get an Uber driver for a little while here. But other than that, we'll see where that goes. But it's going to be a long, slow build. And you don't know if you have a coach. But the other team that's just suddenly telling us you're not worth my time is the New York Mets. And it's not because I'm a Yankees fan. I told you my whole family are Mets fans. So we talk about the Mets. We hear about the Mets. We're very much involved in the Mets. Some of my good friends are over there. I love Gelbsy. But it's just hard to when you see something and you say, this is not run right. And as I've said, and I continue to say it, and I'm going to keep saying it, the Lindor-Soto dynamic is one that they're going to have to at some point address. Rick was talking about it this morning on DHR with Grassa was in for Dave. And Rick was giving you the player perspective on how, no, players don't have to like each other and get along, but there still has to be, and I said this earlier in the show, an established respect for who's the alpha, whose team it is, an understanding of it all. And maybe you all don't rock with each other, but at least you get it. Like I get like how this all works and we can make it work. And a great example he brought up was like how Brunson came in and he immediately was the man. And Randall's like, yo, I've been here for 2 years. What are you doing? Right? And he saw how it was shifting away from him. He didn't like it. And it made an awkward locker room to a point where they're like, this guy, like sometimes he's fine and some days he's a wet blanket and it can't have this. Because the room's got to have a better feel to it, a better vibe to it. Just an understanding of, look, this is his team or this is his room. And once they moved him out and they brought in Cat, and Cat kind of saw the lay of the land, and Cat also had that with Anthony Edwards where he understood it fit, it worked, and in time, once Cat got happy with his role, the locker room was fine. His role, did create some uncomfortable moments. But once it all kind of got figured out, then they were like a really close unit. That's critical. So Soto and Lindor is something that the Mets are going to be forced to deal with. And it doesn't mean get them to be friends. Ain't happening, kids. And Lindor's the guy that is the easiest to move. And as we know, he kind of gave a no comment about his no trade. So keep an eye on that story. Might not be this year, but it's coming. But how about stuff that Soto said, All-Star break, and he's an All-Star, and talking about nobody, look, and I hate doing this to a Met fan. Nobody wants to revisit the whole, did he make a mistake, leaving the Yankees, blah, blah, blah. I'm not trying to create that conversation. But the Yankees are always going to come up with Soto, especially with the Mets being a bad team and the Yankees still being what they are. And so Soto was simply asked about his memories of being a Yankee.
I have so much great memories, man. I have a great time there. We have a great time. We went to the World Series and everything. Yeah, probably celebrating in Cleveland was one of the greatest memories I can ever have.
So there's a guy that spent 1 year but he kind of gushed there for a minute. Now, how about this question about Judge that he was asked?
Do you ever miss not playing with Judge? I know you're happy where you are.
I mean, I miss, like, that doesn't make sense at all, you know?
I mean, Kay said it last year and everybody jumped him. Is Kay wrong?
There's just no good. Like, he answered that the best. Being dismissive about it's the best way.
What else was he? I know. What was he going to say? Oh no, I don't miss playing. Of course you do. He's an MVP. I had my best year with him, but you can't say it too happily. I mean, the memories of being a Yankee was really like giddy. But you're right about that, Anthony. There's no easy answer there because one way or another, it's going to be perceived differently. If he said, "No, I'm good," that would be a shot at Judge, and they had a respect for each other. But if he gushed about playing with Judge, then that's also going to create.
Yes would have been the whole show. I wouldn't have told you, "Hey, yes. Alan, but you can hang on to this one until 6:30. We're not going to get anything out of this one."
Do you miss playing with Judge? Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that would have definitely gone a long way. I wonder if anybody asked him, "Do you miss playing with Pete Alonso?" But again, Kay said he kind of had this sense of reality in the beginning of last year, and his mood wasn't right. It took him a while to get out of it. I still think Lindor being around is making it uncomfortable. And I think if you're the Mets, you have to acknowledge at some point, while you still got to rebuild that roster because it sucks, one thing you've got to do is solve that problem. And we all know who's going to win that. Who's winning that face-off, Ant? Who's winning that face-off?
Oh, Soto.
Yeah, of course he is. So that's why they're going to have to get to that place. You're going to have to rip the Band-Aid off. But once you do, you build the team properly around Soto. You'll see Soto's mood change. You'll see it change. And if you say to me, I don't like having to cater to a player and he's being a diva, welcome to pro sports, everybody. 800-919-3776. Javier in Queens has been waiting a long time to talk some Yankees. I'm sorry, Javi. I will get to you. No, we lost Javi.
Oh, no.
He was like there.
And now he's not.
But maybe he's calling back. So we'll break here, and we'll do a last call crew, and we'll get to as many calls as we can. Let's see if we can get all 6 in before the end of the show. Don Hahn, Rosenberg, ESPN New York.
This is the Michael Kay Show.
You might all disagree with me on this. 7th game of the World Series. The Yankees have to win to be champions. Every single one of their starting pitching is available. I could choose between Garrett Cole, a former Cy Young Award winner. I could choose between Max Fried, Carlos Rodon, Will Warren, Ryan Weathers, or Cam Schlittler. There's one guy on the staff that's dominant and great, and that's Schlittler.
The Michael Kay Show, weekdays at 1 on ESPN New York and streaming live on YouTube. Presented by the Parisman Firm.
Listen up. Fanatics Fest returns to the Javits Center July 16th through the 19th for 4 days of nonstop action right in the middle of the biggest sports weekend of the summer. See more than 500 athletes and celebrities, including Aaron Judge, Kevin Durant, Jalen Brunson, Jay-Z, Travis Scott, and hundreds more. All at the world's #1 sports fan festival. Tickets are on sale now. Grab yours before they're gone at fanaticsfest.com.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today. 1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Ready to get rid of that old car? Donate it to Cars for Kids. Call 877-CARS-4-KIDS to speak to a friendly live agent. Donation is super easy, and your car can be picked up as soon as tomorrow. Go to carsforkids.org now or call 877-CARS-4-KIDS to donate your car today.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids.
Did you know you can donate real estate too? Go to carsforkids.org. That's cars with a K.
When care matters most, experience matters more. The Allure Group is redefining rehabilitation and long-term care across New York with 6 convenient locations. Their expert clinicians create personalized care plans to help you recover, rebuild, and get back to what matters most. From short-term rehab to long-term care, Allure is committed to comfort, dignity, and results. To learn more, visit allurecare.com. The Allure Group, where care meets compassion.
Monkey Sports, built by players for players, is your one-stop shop for hockey, baseball, lacrosse, and more. Find top-name equipment and expert in-store services like sharpening, break-ins, and relacing. Shop in-store at Monkey Sports in Farmingdale or Woodbridge, or online for all the top brands. Whatever your sports, Monkey Sports gets you game ready fast. Monkey Sports, where athletes shop.
Mornings with DiPietro and Rothenberg.
The Mets, if you're one of those people that hates David Stearns, isn't it almost better for it to look like this? So the worse this looks, could you just get to the point where like, no, as much as I'd like to keep him, this is so bad. And the fan base is so disengaged, and they despise this guy that I almost can't bring him back. And that's led to being the laughingstock of Major League Baseball right now. You are.
DiPietro and Rothenberg, morning 6 to 10 on ESPN New York and streaming live on YouTube.
If Twisted Tea Hard Iced Tea was your best friend, it would be the kind of friend that starts an impromptu dance party in the supermarket aisle that turns into an all-day pool party rager at your place, and you don't even own a pool. Twisted Tea Hard Iced Tea turns any day into a legendary adventure. It's smooth and refreshing real iced tea with just the right kick of alcohol. Twisted Tea Hard Iced Tea. Keep it twisted.
Twisted Tea Brewing Company, Cincinnati, Ohio. Please drink responsibly.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
The sounds of summer. They're great until they're not. Luckily, AutoZone has free battery testing and charging.
Let me check that for you.
To help make a rough moment smooth. Don't miss the Celebrate Free event at AutoZone. Free products with select deals until July 27th. And free services every day. Restrictions apply.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Congratulations, New York. The Knicks did it. Through battle after battle, they dominated to become this year's NBA champions. Day in and day out, the hard work paid off. And you were there every step of the way. Enjoy the crown. Own it, because this year is your year. A part of your legacy that will never be forgotten. So celebrate this moment, show your pride, and shop the largest selection of official NBA gear at NBAstore.com. A Fanatics experience.
All right, let's see how many we can get here. 800-919-3776. Last call, crew. We've got Home Run Derby coverage that starts at 8 o'clock here on ESPN New York. And we went to Javier from Queens, and we lost this call, but he'd been waiting a while. So, Javier, I wanted to bring you on before we called it a day. How are you?
Han, I'm so sorry about that before, but I'm so happy to be on with Han Solo. I wish I got on before the break because I was hoping we were going to hear some logic coming into some Han Solo like back in the day. Am I right, Alan?
You know, Jake didn't remember. He didn't remember to play it. But I'll tell you what. Tell you what, though. I want to tell you something that I thought of you the other day. Because what was I? I don't know if I was listening to Sports Talk Radio somewhere because I was not in New York this weekend. But wherever it was, somebody went to Javier. And I was like, see, I'm not wrong.
There was a Javier in Boston? What's going on? I got to do
I don't know. It might have been Boston. I forget it, but I know that the minute I heard somebody call for Javier, and I'm like, see, I've heard that before. So anyways, what do you got?
So listen, Alan, happy anniversary.
Yep.
Alan, a very long time ago, I gave you big props. I said, when it comes to New York hoops, for me, it's Johnny Hoops, it's Mike Breen, and it's Alan Hahn, right? And if I'm going to go for a Mount, and you said that was huge praise, and it is like that when it comes, but I'm gonna add one guy to the Mount Rushmore because I was inspired. I've been watching Rich Eisen's This Was Sports Center. I don't know if you're aware of that, like the podcast, and he's interviewing. So there was footage of Bill Pito doing Sports Center. I completely forgot that Bill Pito was from the ESPN. I'm telling you, and Pito looked amazing. He was so young. He didn't have his glasses. Oh, man. Bill Pito was on top of the world.
Yeah,
shout out to Bill Pito.
Yeah, he was fighting them off back then up in Bristol.
Yeah, for sure. So listen, Alan, surprising weekend, right? There was more significant. Significant fight. Like the best fight this weekend was Bam Adebayo
and Hero
versus Tyler Hero instead of Conor McGregor and Max Holloway. There was more significant strikes.
I was told though that one lasted just as long, even shorter.
All right. And my last thing. Listen, the coach from the Blue Jays is it John Snyder?
Yeah.
My man gets the gas face.
Oh,
giving Cease the ball instead of naming Schlittler the starter is like it's little league move. It's like when the little league coach plays his kid pitching or shortstop when there's a better player. Like it's so bush league. I'm happy Toronto is doing this because it just shows why they didn't deserve to win a World Series last year. So I'm glad Cam said thanks but no thanks. Like let's go. Come on. Absolutely gets the gas face.
Thank you, Javi. See that's going way back, Javi. Appreciate it. The going gas face. You remember that was the old Han Solo stuff we would do at night as well. Let's go to Mark in Kings Park. It rhymes. How you doing, Mark?
Fine, Alan. Thank you for taking my call. What's up? Big fan. Always watching you with the Knicks. I got to know you a little bit more with your son playing with Mikey Marcoux. I'm sure that name rings a bell.
Oh, yeah. Oh, sure.
Mikey's my neighbor, so I kind of followed your son with the Islanders and what he's doing in New Hampshire. But two quick topics for you. One, I'm curious who you think would be a best fit for the second center backup behind Karl-Anthony Towns. I think Drummond's good, but I know there's some names out there, Valanciunas, Looney, Richard, and a host of others. I'm curious on that, but I also just wanted to chime in for what it's worth. And an avid listener to your show, I got to tell you, Alan, ENN's starting to grate on me and a few of my buddies. We talk about it all the time. It just feels like the shtick is going a little overboard. Again, just constructive. I love you guys. But, the tube is playing like 20 times in an ENN, and the hellos go on for like 10 minutes. It feels like it's dragging, so I'm just giving you my thoughts and a bunch of my buddies that we talk about.
Yeah, you know what, Mark? I'll tell you that it's stuff that, again, the ENN's not my vehicle, so that's something that, Peter does. It's what he loves to do is drops and all that stuff, and, we'll definitely pass it on because we need constructive criticism, right? We want to be great, don't we? As far as centers, I really would have loved to have seen them get Yves Missy from New Orleans. They have a bunch of centers now, and they just re-signed DeAndre Jordan. So but they're not letting him go, at least not for cheap. But he'd be like, they need an athletic, like a younger, athletic, bouncy kind of pogo stick, kind of big, who can defend and defend the rim. Drummond can rebound. We know that. Give you a little bit of offense, but I still think they got to find themselves. Again, I always say pogo stick. Like I like the bouncy 7-footer, real athletic. They got to find somebody along those lines. So that's something I would watch. And Mike Marcoux did wonderful things helping my son's career when he played for the Islanders. So I really do appreciate everything he did. So say hi to him for me. Let's see how many more we can get through. Griffin in Connecticut. Hey, Griff.
Hey, Alan. Earlier in the day when Jake said this, and you said this too, so you're telling me you would go all in. So there's no one untouchable at all. So you would trade George Lombard Jr.
I didn't say that. I didn't say no one was untouchable. Yeah, no, I said
thank you.
When it comes to all in, you can't let money, price, like that kind of thing. Like you wouldn't trade for a contract you'd be worried about and all that stuff. Like I would just make sure that if I can get a player that gets me closer to being a true champion, especially the American League the way it looks right now, you do it. Lombard, by the way, for me, and everything I've read about him, now I know he's been banged up, but I love that kid from what they're saying about him as far as the way he carries himself. He's the anti-Volpe. Like he's not someone that's going to sit and wallow in his own self-pity if he's got a bad couple of at-bats. The stuff I've read about him, what he is the next day after a bad game, his defense is already elite, what he can do, the jump throw, he does the Jeter jump throw like
Alan.
Jeter. So the bat's got to come around. It's going to take time, but that's not a guy I'm throwing around. No chance. Someone like him.
Thank you. This is what I said to Jake, and I called him crazy because he said no one's untouchable, that he wouldn't be afraid to trade George Lombard Jr. for a 2-month rental of Tarrant School Ball. He said this earlier. I called him crazy.
No,
I said you have to be.
Yeah, I don't agree with Jake. I don't think Scooble's what you need to spend on. You need a righty hitting catcher. You need to look at third base if you can. I need a bat. Like I need a bottom of the order bat that I can rely on. Yeah, I look. Jake has his opinions. Everybody's allowed to have their own opinions. I don't agree with that. I don't think Scooble's a guy that you go after as a rental. Especially, you got to know what's coming after this. You know a cap's coming. And so you don't want to you have pitching, starting pitching, get it healthy, get it right. I'm more worried about getting another bat because I don't know what Judge is going to be. I don't know what he's going to be. He'll still be a magnet in the lineup if he's playing. He'll still be a guy that pitchers have to worry about, but it doesn't mean he's going to be productive. But his gravity will help Ben Rice. His gravity might even help Bellinger get out of whatever he's in. But I got to get another bat. And that's the part I'm looking at. Bottom of the order has been trash. It's got to be more consistent. Don't hold back because you're afraid of a contract. I'd hold back. I'd worry about somebody that I'm giving up assets for and he's gone. That doesn't make sense, especially not Lombard. Please. You're going to need an in-your-system developed player in that type of situation. Tony in Middletown, been waiting a while. What's up, Tone?
Yeah, hey, Alan, all the accolades you got, man, I echo those. Keep being, giving that baller perspective to the ballers, you know what I'm saying, because that's coaching too. And that helped us, I'm telling you, get that chip this year. You know what I'm saying, your interview tactics and what you bring to the table. So appreciate it. We got the chip. But one thing I have not heard, I just got to bring this dude's name up. He was on Stephen A. Smith's show, DJ Merrow, okay? Yep. When we lost that second game to Atlanta, he said we were going to sweep the rest of the play. I was like, this dude's a clown. What's he doing on the show? That he was one game off. So I got to give him his props.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. So I was like, wow, I guess I hope he put some money down on it, but he was one game off. That was an amazing call. DJ Merrow, you the man.
All right, thank you, Tone. Like I think, with everybody is once you saw them get on that roll, that series with Philly is the first time we started going, okay, this is like whatever happened at the end of that Hawks series, this is real, and it was a lot of fun. And this is the anniversary, 1 month of champions. Keep celebrating, everybody. We'll see you all tomorrow.
On the biggest stage